We give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah by way of Yahushua HaMashiach.
Just turn your phone way over there. If you want to put on this side, be a little.
I mean, the phone always been over there.
I never see what you're saying. So.
You know what I'm saying? Gotta put some bass in your voice. Gotta say it like you mean it. What Cuz said in Full Metal Jacket? Say it like you got a pair.
Got a pair.
So you love my beloved Virgin Mary? Say Private Snowball. Well, we give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah by way of Yahushua HaMashiach. John chapter 5 and verse 39 is what we're going to start with.
Alright. Search the scriptures, for any of you think ye have eternal life, and there they will testify of me. And you will not come to me that ye might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that ye have not the love of Elohim in you.
Yeah.
I come in my Father's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and seek not the honor that cometh from Elohim only? Do not think that I accuse you to the Father. There is one that accuses you, even Moses, in whom you trust. But if you have believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how shall ye believe my words?
Indeed. Who remembers what the word is for shepherd? Do you remember what characters that makes up that word? You're using your notes is acceptable. It is acceptable.
It's the Rosh, the Aleph, and the Hay.
The Ayin. So that means that's to behold the experience of strength, or behold the experience of Elohim. Does anybody remember what the word for sheep was? You would have had to have been privy for Wednesday if you didn't go back and look at it.
Privy.
You should have charged that up before you came.
Privy.
You should have charged that up before you came, boy.
Privy.
You might put a virus in this laptop.
Privy. My phone don't have viruses.
Bet you lied. Now my phone shut down. I don't believe that accurate.
Still got that hub, so.
That's more than Pornhub right there. Way more. Anybody remember what that word for sheep was, though? In all seriousness, right now? I take that a resounding silence as a no. That word is saon. Does anybody know what characters would make up that particular word? No, not on that one. Not saon, it's saon. It's T-S-O-N.
Oh, the side?
Side is one of them, yes. And it is one. I think Aleph was the other.
Aleph is the middle.
So you know what that tells you? That's the desire to the strength of life. So that's what we've really been looking at, is the things that pertains to these sheep and law. Because everybody like this here, shoot, he got a song, that's what he called it. Isn't that what you call it? Well, let's look at where that come from, right? Do anybody know any of the instances where that particular word, that those two words, law sheep, are used together? It's only used in 3 places in the word. Yeah, that's the one everybody knows. It's 2 other locations though. Let's begin then. 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 21.
Peter.
Yeah, you might want to pause on that one. My little Peter doesn't sound right.
Probably want to pause on that.
There's a little pause. My where little Peter at? I don't know where little Peter at. I'm gonna go around looking for him.
Big Peter.
I'm definitely going around looking for that. That ain't right.
It's just not right.
1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 21.
Reads, for even hereunto ye were called, because Mashiach also suffered for us, leaving us an example, that ye shall follow his steps.
Yep.
Who did no sin, neither was guile found in his mouth.
Yep.
Who when he was reviled not again. When he suffered, he threatened not, but committed himself to him that judges righteousness. Who his own self bare our sins in his own body on a tree, that we, being dead to sin, should live unto righteousness, by whom stripes you were healed. For ye were as sheep going astray.
You was at what?
Sheep going astray.
Now pause. He said you as sheep as what?
Going astray.
Now hold this right here and go to Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 3. What do you think would make some sheep go astray? What you think that would cause that? Actually, what you finna read, it wasn't that they ain't had none. They had some. That's why they went.
Wicked shepherd.
Jeremiah 50:3.
It says, for out of the north there cometh up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein. They shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast. In those days and in that time, says Yahuwah, the children of Yasharal shall come, they and the children of Yehuda together, going and weeping. They shall go and seek Yahuwah the Elohim.
What does it mean to seek? What does it mean to seek? You should know it. If you don't, that's shameful. That's what? The Rosh. So that's the sacrifice to get in the door. So at this particular point, he said that when you go weeping, you're going to go to look to sacrifice yourself to enter into the door. That's why, because we done reiterated this, Darash and because you should know these things, you should commit these things to memory. If you're not committing these things to memory, for lack of a better term, you're not laying the word up in your heart. You're just sitting here for the sake of sitting here. You could have stayed to the house for that. Go ahead.
It's saying those days in that, it's saying they shall ask the way of Zion.
Ask the what?
The way to
Who
Zion.
remembers what the word for way is? That would be Darak. And that would be the way to the highest that covers sins. So after you just sat back and say that you're going to be willing to sacrifice yourself to get in the door and into the house, then you're seeking the way that's going to cover your sins so you can actually get to Allah. Because like I told you the other day, like, what is your desire? Like, how bad do you want to get there? Showing up here every week don't mean that's how bad you want to get there. Them people showed up every week in the land, every Shabbat. Do you know what I'm talking about? They showed up in the synagogue and heard Mashiach preach every Shabbat. And stood out there and said, kill him, and let me get Barabbas. Do you know what I'm saying? So it has to be, how bad do you want that? Because we can say we want it bad enough, but how deep does that burn in the seat of your soul? That being in the Jerusalem. Like, matter of fact, since I said that, give me Psalms 137, man. Just listen to what this man finna say right here, man. We come right back to Jeremiah. You know what I'm saying? But just listen to what he talking about. Because what's going to be in Jerusalem? We talked about it last week with the mercy seat. The throne of Yahuwah is going to be there. So God himself is going to be there. How bad do you want to see his face? We already talked about you can't see his face as a mortal man. You're going to have to be changed to see his face. So how bad do you want to see his face? Some of you felt like this. Some of you didn't have a desire. You hadn't seen your wife in a while. You really, really wanted to see her. Been a while since you've seen your kids. You really, really wanted to see them. Maybe you had a friend or a relative, a grandmother, granddaddy, whoever. And you had an overwhelming desire to see their face. That's how you better have to see this man's face. Because if you see his face on the wrong side of the sword, it's over for you. And that ain't good. We ain't trying to go through that. Psalm 137. Give me verse 3, man. You ain't got to start to the top. It ain't but 8 verses in it anyway.
For they that carried us away captive required us a song.
They wanted you to sing.
And they that wasted us required us mirth.
They wanted you to party.
Saying, sing us one of those songs of Zion. How should we sing Yahuwah's song in a strange land?
Pause. Can anybody think of some of the songs? Because we're going to be dealing with that pretty soon because they in the law. Can anybody think of any songs that's in this text? I can think about 3 off the top. Huh? Song of Moses is one of them because we already had a conversation. That's Deuteronomy 32. It's got the Song of Deborah in Judges chapter 4. You got the Song of Miriam in Exodus chapter 15. Remember in the book of Revelation, in about the 15th chapter, it said that you would sing the Song of Moses. So that means you would sing what's written in Deuteronomy 32 when you enter into the land. And there's other songs in here too. Not just the Psalms, but specific things where he said, write this song. Or they'll sing a new song. Go ahead.
He said, if I forget thee, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget her cunning.
If you what?
If I forget thee, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget her cunning.
So he said, if he forget Jerusalem, let his right hand forget its skill. Go ahead. He just looked like he wanted to sing.
It said, if I do not remember thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth.
It said, if I don't remember Jerusalem, let me be a mute. Let me be dumb. That I can't even talk. That's how serious the writer of this song felt about returning back to where he came from. Go ahead.
It said, if I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy, remember, O you who are the children of Edom in the day of
He said this is what he would want, that he would lose his skill and his tongue would stick to the roof of his mouth if Jerusalem was not his chief joy. You think the land itself is his joy, or who's in it? That's how bad he wanted to go there. Let my hand have the ability to stop working and let me walk around here a mute dummy that can't even talk. That's what it means to be mute and dumb. I can't even talk. That's what I feel like should happen to me if this is not where I want to be at. That's how bad he wanted to go back. So we don't have that type of thought because we never left from them. So we never were there, and we never had the experience of dealing with Yahuwah directly to even have that type of longing. But then you should sit back and know where you was at before Yahuwah made himself known unto you, and that should crank your desire up to that where you want to be at. Because he can easily give you another mind and let you just drift on off so he can kill you. Continue back to Jeremiah chapter 50, sir. It's a thin line, you know what I'm saying? And you, in order to achieve this objective, you have to really, really want that very, very desperately. Just like Job said, I esteem this man's word more than my necessary food. You have to want it more than you want life itself. Because if you don't, you're not going to take it, you're going to get complacent. You can't get complacent with your soul salvation. You can't get comfortable. You can't feel like I've arrived. You can't get like that. That's how you slip. And there's too many instances in this book of people who slip because they were comfortable. Go ahead.
We at verse 5. They shall ask the way to Zion in their faces thitherward, saying, come and let us join ourselves to Yahuwah in a perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten.
That shall not be what?
Forgotten.
Why would it be forgotten? What does perpetual mean? This is a continual covenant that can never be forgotten. So what is he basically telling you right here then? It's an everlasting covenant. So with that being said, let's go back to Genesis 49 and 23 and then look at something we looked at last night. Because that word athon means perpetual, continual, or flowing. That's what it means. You can pick it up at verse 22.
It say, Yosef is a fruitful bow, even a fruitful bow by a well whose branches run over the wall.
What is that well? Don't nobody got an idea what that well would be? Well, let's look at it and see what it is. Isaiah chapter 12 and verse 3. Make it verse 1, because it ain't about 4 or 5 verses in that either. 12.
It said, you said 1?
Yeah.
It said, and in that day thou shalt say, O Yahuwah, I praise thee, though thou was angry with me, thy anger is turned away, and thou comfortedest me.
Pause. What does that tell you? You should know we done dealt with it before, so we're just going over something that you already know. He said, that day you were angry with me, but he did what? He comforted me. So what is he talking about? No one seems to know at this present time. To who? To what? Who's speaking? What is he talking about? It's not a big deal if no one is sure off the top, but let's begin then. Let's look at when he was angry. Let's go to Romans 8 and verse 29.
What's up, man?
I'm good, dude. But I appreciate the offer. Yes. He's having a serious conversation right now. I don't know. Yes. I think you would want to eat that. He's dead serious right now. Romans 8 and 29.
It says, for whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. Moreover, whom he did predestinate, them he also called. And whom he called, them he also justified. And whom he justified, them he also esteemed.
Go ahead.
What shall we say to these things? If Elohim be for us, who can be against us?
Go ahead.
He that spared not his own son.
Now, why wouldn't he spare his son? What would cause him not to spare his son? Bam! I knew that would come. I knew that would come.
Oh, man.
I knew that would come. He took it right on the chin, too. That's what happens when you don't sit down.
You alright?
He did a wrestling move and turned his chin at the last minute. Because that's what they do when they take a kick in wrestling. They kind of turn their head and throw their hand up to catch that boot. And that's what they did. It's ugly when they don't turn their head and catch that boot. Because they catch it right in the chin. So who is he angry with? To an extent. But let's look and see who he was angry with. Psalm 7 and 8. And after Psalm 7 and 8, Romans 5 and 5.
It says, Yahuwah shall judge the people. Judge me, O Yahuwah, according to my righteousness. That according to mine integrity that is in me. Oh, let the wickedness of the wicked come to an end, but establish the just.
Establish the who?
Establish the just. For the righteous Elohim tries the hearts and reigns.
Yes, he does.
My defense is of Elohim, which saveth the upright in heart.
He say who?
The upright in heart.
Go ahead.
Elohim judges the righteous, and Elohim is angry with the wicked every day.
He angry with who every day?
The wicked.
With who?
The wicked.
So what does this make sense that he said you were angry with me, but you comforted me? The context clues and your level of understanding should be able to help you answer that question. Well, let's look at it. Romans 5 and 5.
It says, and hope maketh not ashamed, because the love of Elohim is shed abroad in our hearts by the Ruach HaKodesh which is given unto us. For when we were yet without strength, in due time Mashiach died for the ungodly.
He died for who?
The ungodly.
So who would he be? Would he be angry at the ungodly, or would he be angry at the Mashiach? But what happened with Hamashiach though? So he became the ungodly. What does the law say that he would do? It's in Numbers, the 14th chapter. He said, I will kill you all as what? One man. So he was angry at the people as if he was angry with what? One man. So he took his anger out on who? One man. So how did he comfort this man when he was angry with him? That's supposed to be in your context clue. He rose him from the dead. Whose name insinuates comfort? Indeed. Let's look at it. Genesis 5 and 25. The reason why we taking this track, because when he go to talking about taking you to pasture and things of that nature. And that's why we got to look at this well, and that's why we're taking the direction that we're going. And I know I go rather quickly in normal circumstances, but we're probably going to go even quicker than normal. So if it's going too fast, you better open your mouth. Because if you're sitting there looking dumbfounded and you can't keep up and you didn't open your mouth, that's your fault. Because the offer has been extended. 25, 5 and 25. Because we got to fit a lot of information in a short period of time.
5 and 25.
Let's roll.
It say, and Methuselah lived 180 years, 80 and 7 years, and begat Lamech. And Methuselah lived after he begat Lamech 780 and 2 years.
Was Methuselah a righteous man? Definitely is, because this is the genealogy of Adam. This is the genealogy of the sons of Elohim. So you had better believe he is. Because you know who's missing from this genealogy? Cain. Go ahead.
It says, And all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died.
Could you imagine living 969 years? Could you imagine? What did he say? What he pretty much say? He had his first son at $1.80. That's a long time for you talking about dropping the seed and then live another 800 and some odd years after that. Well, really, math-wise, we say 180, about another 789. That's a long time to live after your first seed. So imagine what he could have been doing for 180 years. He definitely was building himself up as a man before he even talked about it. That's a long time to be living single. Niggas around here go single, go crazy if they single for 3 months. Talking about 180 years. That's some self-restraint for you right there, because that's 180 years with no butt. Which he wouldn't have known what he was missing, because he ain't never had none. Which probably was what messed most people up sitting in this room, because you got to taste of butt and lost your brain. You would have never known what it felt like. You would have never even cared. Plus, you probably, I can't say that because they were horn dogs back then too, though. It just probably wasn't jammed down your throat as far as media is concerned in these days and times. Because you can't turn nowhere without seeing it. Nowhere. I seen niggas talking about today, niggas sharing videos of a little girl being molested. Why would you do that? Because that means you had to sit there and watch it. I'm not watching that. Most definitely not sharing it. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, that's sad right there. That's supposed to went straight to the police. Not to a nigga inbox or on your wall. That's supposed to went straight to the police. What made you think I wanted to watch that? Bruh, he molesting them. Don't, you're no longer my friend. Because clearly you're into that. Straight up now. For people that actually, I didn't see it, nobody shared it on my page, but clearly other people were doing it to the point where other people had to let it be known, don't send me that. Don't tag me in that. What made you think I wanted to look at that? You know what I'm saying? It's just a sign of the depravity of the times that we live in. Continue on, sir.
It said, Lamech lived 182 years and begat a son, and he called his name Noah.
182 years before he had Noah.
Saying, this same shall comfort us concerning our work and toil of our hands because of the ground which who have cursed.
Why is the ground cursed? Yeah, you're right. Because of Adam. Where did Adam come from? Can we not go look in that law and see he cursed the ground? So he cursed man. But then he said that toil. What is your toil? Your labor, your work. What did Mashiach say about your labor? Come unto me, all ye that are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. You know what I'm saying? Which is taking you what Peter's saying about cast your cares upon him and lay your stuff down. That, and also dealing with, you can't come serve Elohim and do what you want to do. You had a run doing what you wanted to do, and how did that work out for you? Do you know what I'm saying? Just ask yourself that question. You ain't got to answer it out loud. You had a run doing what you wanted to do. How did that work out for you? If it didn't work out well, then why would you continue thinking in that manner and going down that pathway? Because it didn't work out well for you. The man's telling you to give yourself up and you refuse to do so. And then think you're going to receive the benefit of a sacrifice from him. And you're not going to get it. Do you know what I'm saying? You're not going to get it. That's why we looked at the things dealing with last night about beholding the experience of strength. That's what a shepherd's supposed to do. He calls the people to behold that experience by how he moves. You know what I'm saying? So you can sit back and look at, do you have to go at the same levels that he went? But all you got to sit back and look at is how a nigga move. And then say he teach the word and he ain't got no patience, then clearly he don't teach no word. And clearly we could look at the mercy aspect. Yahushua told that lady, go and sin no more. A nigga will sin and tell a nigga, I forgive you. You ain't see Yahushua tell nobody, anybody forgave nothing. He had the power to forgive sins. That's why he used that terminology. They sinned against him. So of course he can say, your sins are forgiven. I can't forgive you for fornicating. I don't have that power. I can't forgive you for lying. I don't have that power unless you lied to me. Then I can say, well, I forgive you for lying to me. But unless you do something directly to another individual, that person doesn't have the power to forgive you. They don't have that authority. They don't have that authority. Only Yahuwah can forgive sin. That's why the people were tripping when he told them, thy sins be forgiven thee. And they say, who but Elohim can forgive sin? He say, so nigga, so you can know that I got power on the earth to forgive sins. That's why I said it. You know what I'm saying? That's causing you to experience Elohim because Elohim forgives sins. You show that same ability to experience if somebody sin against you and you forgive them. That's why he say, forbear one another in love and forgive one another as he forgiven you. See, I can forgive you, like I told you before, I just don't fool with you after that. I don't have to fool with you. You know what I'm talking about? It ain't that big of a deal to not to hold no grudge. I ain't that type of nigga. I can't speak for nobody else though. Holding grudges don't hurt nobody but you. It don't hurt them. They don't care if you walk around mad with them. Clearly they ain't care if you walk around mad with them anyway, because they did something to you to cause you to be upset with them to begin with. So clearly they didn't care about that from the jump street. You know what I'm saying? So you ain't hurting them. I hate that nigga. And you putting undue stress on yourself. You know what I'm talking about? Doesn't make sense. We through with that, man. Come on back to Isaiah 12. Because y'all know what the comfort is. We shouldn't even read John 14. We shouldn't have to read that. You should know what that is. We in verse 2, I believe.
You want Psalm 5? You got 2 songs.
No, we good in Psalm. We read Psalm 7. Back to Isaiah chapter 12. And we was in Psalms 137. And we've completed them both. Yeah, we're going back to it. We have to deal with the point of the matter of what he was discussing. And we're in Genesis 49. We actually in Genesis 49 dealing with this well. Jeremiah 50 is on hold for the moment. For the moment. I do that. Back to Isaiah chapter 12. We in verse 2.
It says, behold, Elohim is my salvation. I will trust and not be afraid. For Yahuwah is my strength and my song. He is also become my salvation.
He's your what? Who's your strength?
It says, Yahuwah is my strength and my song. And he has also become my salvation.
He's become my salvation. Go ahead.
It said, therefore with joy shall ye draw water out of the wells of salvation.
Who name means to draw water? You were, yeah, you were correct the first time. Just trust your instincts. Hold on 1 second. I've got to see what the word for strength is. It's a different word. And that's Oz. You ever watched Oz? It's a heck of a television show. But nevertheless, he say draw water. How are you going to draw water out the wells of salvation? How are you able? What do you draw water with? So let's go to John chapter 4. Who else drew water out of well? Jacob drew water out of well. What did Jacob do with that water? He watered the flock. So he watered those who had a desire for the strength of life is what he did. Does anybody know how many flocks it was?
3.
It was 3 of them. So he came to water them all. Go ahead, John 4 and 8.
It says, for his disciples were gone away unto the city to buy meat. Then says the woman of Samaria unto him, how is it that thou being a Yahudim askest drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Yahudim have no dealings with the Samaritans.
None.
Yahushua answered and said unto her, if thou knewest the gift of Elohim, and who it is that said to thee, give me to drink, thou would have asked of him, and he would give thee living water.
What did she say?
And the woman said unto him, sir, thou hast nothing to draw with.
You have nothing to draw with.
And the well is deep.
And the well is what?
Deep.
It's what?
Deep.
What do y'all think this means? There's a verse for this in the book too. She said the well is deep and you ain't got nothing to draw with. That boy there. In the book of Proverbs, it tells you about how a man of understanding can draw water out of a person's heart. So when she makes this statement, we have to look at it spiritually. What do you think she means? Because he's going to give her a spiritual response, is he not? So what do you think that could mean if it says the well is deep and you have nothing to draw with? I say, what would you usually draw water out of a well with? A bucket. They say with a string. Check it though. Let's go to Numbers chapter 24. Pick me up at verse 5. So if we look at it spiritually, what would that bucket be that you would stick in that well to pull that water out? That will be one of them too. But see, we kind of read, he right in one instance, but we read about it in Numbers 21 last week when he told them to dig a well. I guess we're going to have to look at it again. So let's look at Numbers 24. This nigga back there crazy. This is 24 and 5. And after that, Numbers 21 and 8.
It says, how goodly are thy tents, O Jacob, and thy tabernacles, O Yasharal. As the valleys are they that spread forth, and as gardens by the riverside.
Yep.
And the trees of lime aloes, which Yahuwah hath planted, and the cedar trees besides the water.
Yep.
He shall pour the water out of his bucket.
He'll pour the water out of his what?
His bucket.
Out of his what?
His bucket.
Well, where he get the water for the bucket from? Go here.
And his seed shall be as many waters.
His seed to be as what?
As many waters.
Many waters.
And his kings shall be higher than Agag, and his kingdom shall be exalted.
His king will be higher than who?
Agag.
Who is Agag? He one of the kings who they fought. If my memory serves me correctly, he's an Amalekite.
Yeah.
And you know who was supposed to kill this man? Saul was supposed to kill this man. Y'all don't remember him? When he was shaking in his boots and say, surely the time of death is past? And what ended up happening to him? Samuel put that sword on that nigga and hewed him to pieces in front of everybody. But notice he said that when he said his seed would be as many waters, in most instances, what does those waters represent? If the seed be as many waters. People. It's the same thing in Jeremiah. Which take us back to that Revelation 7 and that 1 Kings 8 that we looked at the other day. Because who is the seed? The seed is Yahushua. Not seeds of many, but seeds of one. That seed being Mashiach. So if that seed is of many waters and he poured water out of the bucket on the seed, that means the seed had to do what? They had to draw water out the well in order for this to happen in the first place. Or in this instance, Elohim had to pull water out the well. Now let's go to Numbers 21 and 8 and let's see what that could mean. Because he was correct in his first adaptation, which is the preacher. Because they have to draw it out. Because they were sent to draw it out. Which takes you back to what a shepherd is, or the ra'ah, or the experience, or beholding the experience of strength. And who did he say his strength was according to Isaiah chapter 12? Yahuwah. So it's going to come back to your strength got to be in your Elohim. See, they try to be strong in everything else, but yeah, that's why you don't succeed. Not in anything spiritual anyway. You can succeed in anything natural. But we talking about spiritual. That's why you don't succeed. Because remember when we talked about what an elder is the head of the house. And what was one of the first qualifications that an elder had to possess? Not to be self-willed. You can't be a head of a household and be self-willed. That's not going to be able to happen. That's not going to be able to happen. Moses was not self-willed. The one time he got self-willed, what happened to him? He couldn't come into the land. And why did he get self-willed? Because his household was irking his last nerve. You know what I'm saying? That's why the book tells you to not grieve those who have authority over you, because it's not profitable for you, because they can mess around and they could get crashed because you are grieving them. You know what I'm saying? And see, I didn't hit that point all the way. That's why niggas have a problem with authority when it comes to the word and use that cop out. We're all brethren. Yeah, we all brethren. Nigga, it's still an order of command. Nigga, that's in the law. What do you mean? That man said he said captains over 10s and captains over 100s and captains over 50s, and the head of the food chain was Moses, and under Moses was Aaron, and under Aaron at that time was Yahushua son of Nun. And then when Moses died, guess who took Moses' spot and took top ranked position? Yahushua did. That's always been the case. They ain't never sit back and look at, we brothers, so you can't tell me what to do. They didn't move and operate that way. That's not how they operated. They understood, the reason being is those at the top understood that they were servants in the first place. So it didn't matter to them. It wasn't that big of a, that's what he meant. If you got authority, then carry yourself as a servant and serve the people. You still have authority. when everything went down in the book of Acts, who they ended up going to holler at every single time? Peter. Paul didn't sit back and say, I'm an apostle, I ain't got to talk to nobody. That man took a journey to Jerusalem every single time and went to holler at the rest of the apostles and let me see what they got to say, because even though I'm an apostle, truth be told, they outrank me. Don't you think the man who's this rock I'm going to build my house, don't you think he got a little bit more authority over somebody else? I would believe so. Do you know what I'm talking about? That's a pretty high-ranking position, and considering that Mashiach himself gave it to him. You ain't see nothing say, I ain't listening to Peter. He can't tell me what to do. Well, then you're going to go to hell for not listening to Peter, because that's who he left in charge when he left here. You know what I'm talking about? They didn't have that type of mind frame. They don't think how we think now. We think as fragmented individuals who seek to do what I want to do, as forth as a collective body of individuals working to serve one another and everybody playing their role and position. Everybody else wants everybody else's role and position. This is why Paul said, don't walk around with vain esteem, envying one another. Go ahead, sir.
21:8.
Mm-hmm.
And Yahuwah said to Moses, make thee a fiery serpent and set it upon a pole.
Well, oh, my bad, 18. So maybe if I make it 15, we don't want all that.
It said, and
got the sniffles for?
at the stream of the brooks that goeth down to the dwelling of Ar, and lieth upon the border of Moab, and from thence they went to Beer, that is the well thereof. Yahuwah spoke unto Moses, gather the people together, and I will give them water.
They get water from out of the well? The well, right? Get what he said they did when they got to the well. Let's just look and see.
Then Yahshua sang this song.
What song did they sing? See, there's another song. Let's see what song they sang.
Spring up, O well.
Spring up what?
O well.
What else?
Sing ye unto it.
Do what to it?
Sing ye unto it.
That means talk to it, right?
And the princes digged the well, and the nobles of the people digged it, by the direction of the lawgiver with their staves. And from that wilderness they went up.
Two people dig water out this well. To get water out this well. Who was it? It just told you. He said the who? The princes? No, and the people. He said they did it at the direction of the lawgiver. So what is a prince? A prince is a what? He's a ruler. So if you the elder or you the head of the household, guess what that makes you? A ruler. So that means it's the shepherds that have to be the ones who do this here. But he also told who else to do it? The people. The people. So what does this mean? We're going to focus on the people, because clearly we know that the princes or the rulers should be knowing the word. We already know that. But let's look at Acts 17 and 9, because the people ought to be digging too.
I thought it said the princes did the well, the nobles of the people.
Oh, that's what it said, nobles of the people. You left out nobles. You heard him say noble? Nah, I didn't hear you say it. You sound like you got a lot of snot in your
I'm confused, but I definitely did.
You sound like you got a lot of snot in your
But
nose.
I could possibly.
Yeah.
I could be a tissue. I could.
Yeah, you might want to blow. You know what a noble is?
Yeah.
That nigga walking around with chicken broth?
What?
He said chicken broth.
They said a tissue, man.
Oh, I could have said that nigga walking around with chicken broth. That nigga is prepared. I'm telling you, that nigga is prepared. What?
Camel's chicken noodle.
Boy, that boy would have pulled out some chicken broth. Boy, that nigga MacGyver around here. Go to Jeremiah 30 and 22. So like, again, when you look at the princes and the nobles, we'll need Acts 17. When you look at the princes and the nobles, these are the leaders of the people. So they the ones supposed to be drawing this water out. That's why he asked that woman asking that question, you don't got nothing to draw with. He got something to draw with. The question is, do you got something to draw with?
30 and 22.
Sire, you better get yourself together.
Yeah, that definitely. Yeah, but I was thankful for whatever you brought. Appreciate it. Definitely can't be picky.
Let's roll. Jeremiah 30 and 22.
You got to share too.
It said, ye shall be my people, and I'll be your Elohim. Behold, the whirlwind of Yahuwah goeth forth with fury, and the continuing whirlwind. It shall fall with pain upon the head of the wicked. The fierce anger of Yahuwah shall not return until he have done it, and until he have performed the intent of his heart. In the latter days ye shall consider it.
That's definitely not right.
You want to say more of those?
Yeah, I need verse 18. Yeah, 18.
It says, we're at 30 and 18. It says, thus says Yahuwah, behold, I will bring again the captivity of Jacob's tents, and have mercy on his dwelling places. And the city shall be built upon her own heap, and the palace shall remain after the manner thereof. And out of them shall proceed thanksgiving, the voice of them that make merry, and I will multiply them, and they shall not be few. I will also esteem them, and they shall not be small. Their children also shall be as aforetime, and their congregation shall be established before me, and I will punish all that oppress them. And their nobles shall be for themselves.
The nobles shall be from what?
Themselves.
From who?
Themselves.
And what else?
And their governor shall proceed from the midst of them, and I will cause him to draw near, and he shall approach unto me. For who is this that engaged his heart?
He said he calls him to draw near. Don't you think everybody that preached the word has to draw near under Elohim? Remember what we looked at in 1 Corinthians 9 where he said, don't you know that those that are partakers of the altar partake of Kadesh things? You have to go inside the temple and come near to Yahuwah and enter into the altar. Let's look at, what is that? Ephesians 4. Pick me up at about verse 14, I believe. Ephesians 4 and 14. So we need to look at who are these nobles whom he set up to be able to draw this water out of this well, because he said that they were given this by the direction of who? The lawgiver gave them the direction to do this. So if the lawgiver gave them the direction to dig the well, then that would mean he sent them to do it. Because remember, the word for dig in that verse means to search, which takes us back to John 5:39, to search the scriptures. Go ahead, sir.
18 to 14.
What you talking about, 18 to 14 what?
That's it, verse 14. That henceforth he be no more children tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine by the sleight of men and the cunning craftiness whereby they lie in wait to deceive. But speaking the truth in love may grow up into him in all things, which is the head, even the Mashiach.
The head,
from whom the whole body fitly joined together and compacted by that which every joint supplies.
We need verse 11.
And he gave some apostles, we have verse 11. He gave some apostles and some prophets and some evangelists and some pastors and teachers for the perfecting of the congregation.
Would these be the nobles? Is who they job to be able to dig that well? Because we can see from the law who he gave instruction for to dig the well. Now, if we go back to John chapter 4 and we see Hamashiach is the well, then we know full well who he gave the instruction and who to do so according to what the law say. You know what I'm saying? See, we live in the days and times where everybody feel like they can dig the well. But that's not what the law says. The law says that the princes and the nobles of the people were sent to do that work. So you know what that means? The princes and the nobles were sent to do? They were sent to serve. Don't you think that's some laborer's work to dig a well? All the people had to do was collect the water from the work that these men did. Which means they are an unprofitable servant. They just do. He could have sent the people to dig the well, couldn't he? But he sent the heads of the people to dig the well. He told them to go do it. You know what I'm talking about? And that was going to be benefited for the rest of the people, is what you see, which we read in inverse from verse 14 down to what verse 11 is really about, what those men are supposed to be doing. They the ones supposed to be digging the well. All the people got to do is just get the water. That's something totally different. Because those ain't necessarily preachers of the word. These are just men who've been chosen to follow the Lamb wherever he go. You don't necessarily have to preach to be a part of that. Anybody can be a part of that, because that's a governmental office. That ain't got nothing to do with preaching. At the end of the day, though, even though the people that he listed are high in the body, in reality, like Paul said, put it, they at the bottom because they service. Nobody esteems a true servant. Nobody esteems a servant. You don't go into a restaurant and clap your hands and scream out loud for your waiter. You know what I'm saying? That's not something anybody does. You don't jump up and down and clap and give a lot of esteem to the valet. You know what I'm saying? You just don't. See, preaching is the only occupation where dudes seek to get esteem for being a, because if they were doing it well, nobody would acknowledge you. Not like how people want fame from this. You know what I'm saying? Or some money or some butt, or all three. Usually all three, for the most part. Come on back to well, we good in that. Come back to John chapter 4 and where you stopped at, and then we'll go right back to Genesis 49. And the reason why we're looking at that is because the word for strength, athon, means perennial or constantly flowing, enduring. Because we're looking at that Jeremiah 50 when he spoke of a perpetual covenant, because he said his bow abode in strength, or his covenant abode in everlasting life, for lack of a better term. Because you have to look at where your enduring strength comes from. Continue on, sir.
We're at John 4 and 12.
Yeah.
Art thou greater than our father Jacob, which gave us the well and drank thereof himself and his children and his cattle? Yahushua answered and said unto her, whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst, but the water that I give him shall be in him a well of water springing up unto everlasting life.
So he got to be that well. You got to get the well. You got to get the water from the well from him. What did she ask, sir? How can I draw said water? Ain't that what she asked him? And what did he say to her?
The woman said, how can give me this water that I thirst not, neither come hither to draw? Yahushua said, go call thy husband and come hither. And the woman answered and said,
that's good. We ain't got to go no further because we know what that went. She said, I ain't got no husband. Yeah. Told her a bold-faced lie. He say that, you told the truth. Come on back to Genesis 49.
Stop it. You got words. You
we in verse 24. Well, actually, we in verse 22.
It said, Joseph is a fruitful bow, even a fruitful bow by a well whose branches run over the wall. The archers have sorely grieved him and shot at him and hated him. But his bow abode in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty Elohim of Yaakov.
His hands were made strong by who?
The mighty hand of Elohim.
And he became the what? For this
is the shepherd, the stone of Yahshua. Even by Elohim of thy fathers who shall help thee, and the Almighty who shall baruch thee with Baruchis of Shamahim.
So because, listen, right, because his bow abode in strength, and the mighty Elohim strengthened his hand, because it says from this, but basically it says because of this, he became the shepherd. He was able to cause the people to behold the experience of Elohim. Now the word athon, we talked about it last night, and you know you have the aleph, the yod, the tau, and the nun. Y'all have worksheets in front of you, so I would want y'all to look at that and tell me what message you would get from those particular characters. You have the aleph, you have the yod, you have the tau, and you have the nun. But you need to go lay down.
Well, you don't want to.
Talking about you on now? You should have been on. Kira. Yep. Nah, don't read it out to me. You got to come up with that on your own. Don't read it out loud. No, that's something a little different. We ain't parsing. They ain't parsing. Parsing is subjugating nouns and verbs, actually constructing the sentence and translating the text. We're trying to unlock the message that is contained in the characters which are provided in that particular word. So if we have an aleph, you have the tau, you have the nun. The yod, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be necessarily in any order, because there's plenty of time. Because like when you do shalom all the way out, that's not in the order how the characters listed. Yeah, it's not in the same order. So a lot of them come up. Even Darag is not in the same order. you got to remember this particular methodology is not even used widely amongst people who believe the word.
I put another one in the group chat. It might help because it got more.
It has more meanings in it.
Yeah, so it's easier to put together than trying to use one word meanings. Yeah.
But we'll look at it right now, right? And you like this here, right? And we'll have everyone participate. You have olive, you have an ox, you have the head, you have the leader, you have the strength, you have power, you have headship, the father, and you've been taught.
Yeah, so you can choose out of all those options.
When you got the yod, you got the arm and hand to work your actions, to worship your deeds, or to throw. After that, you got the towel, which is your mark or your covenant, a sign, that stake. The last, and also means to join together or to seal. And then last, and certainly not least, you have the noon, which you know is a seed, life, continuing, offspring, and unstoppable motion. So considering that the word athon means perennial or enduring, you would automatically want to throw in here continuing life because of the fitting of the definition of said word. So then when you're sitting back looking at the strength, or with that olive, you would probably want to use taught for that one. You know what I'm talking about? Because when you lead into that, now you've been taught about a continuing life.
Or the head is supposed to teach you.
You know what I'm saying? Or the head is to teach you about continuing life. How does that tie in? Because of the context of the verse when it said his arms are bold in strength. You know what I'm talking about? Considering that that strength is what caused him to become the shepherd and stone of Yasharal. That's what caused him to be able to cause you to behold the experience of the head. So then the next thing you get is you get the towel. So now you start to get something. The head teaches you about the life continuing of a covenant that produces life. You see how that works? Well, not put it this way. No, because we got yod was in the way. So you can sit back and you can look at yod is the head joins you together of the covenant of life.
And the strength in the word, because you're doing the word.
I mean, whichever direction you want to choose, because it's interchangeable. Because the key thing when we're talking about using this particular method is you need to look at the word, what that word means, and then the context of what that word is being used and the verse of which you pull it from. And that is what allows you to know which definition of character to use in the sentence to be able to understand what that particular word is important when you spell it. You know what I'm saying? So again, to reiterate that point, you need to look at athon. It means perennial, enduring, continual flowing. It's used in the essence of where someone is in a situation where they needed that strength. He abode in that strength. That strength enabled him to be the Ra'ah, or the one who causes you to behold the experience of Elohim. And we could go look in this text and see how this man was teaching you to join you together into a covenant of life with Elohim. That's what Yahushua came to do. And then guess what? The rest of the verse will continue to tell you that. Continue reading it, sir, and let's begin then.
49. We at 25.
25. Listen what it says.
It says, even by the Elohim of thy father who shall help.
So who is his father? This is Jacob talking. So who is the Elohim of his father? So, because it's not just Isaac, it's Abraham too. So the Elohim of his fathers is who? It's Yahuwah. So he said what's going to happen to Joseph is going to happen by whose hands? Yahuwah's. Go ahead.
It says, and the Almighty who shall baruch thee with blessings of Shamahim.
What is the blessing of Shamahim? The Ruach. You should know that from Genesis 27. Continue on.
And blessings of the deep that lie.
What are the blessings of the deep that lie under? Let's begin. Let's pause. Let's go back to Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 5 and let's see what it is. This is the same blessings of the deep that you're supposed to be saying that you're seeking after when you got baptized.
It says, there's one body and one ruach, even as ye are called in one hope of your calling, one master, one faith, and one baptism. one Elohim and Father of all, who is above all and through all and in you. But unto every one of us is given grace according to the measure of the gift of the Mashiach. Wherefore he said, when he ascended up on high, he led captivity captive and gave gifts unto men. Now that he ascended, what is it but that he also descended first into the lower parts of the earth?
Ain't that what Genesis 49 is telling you? He ascended to the lower part. Is that not the deep? Go ahead, sir.
It said, he that descended is the same also that ascended up far above Shamahim, that he might fill all things.
That's a blessing that come from above. Now go back to Genesis 49, because we didn't go in this in great detail last night. That's the only reason why we're looking at it.
It says blessings of the deep that lieth under, and blessings of the beast and of the womb.
The breast, not the beast.
Go
sit down. That's why you fell out that chair.
It says the blessings of thy father have prevailed above the blessings of my progenitors.
The blessings of who?
My father, thy father. The blessings of thy father have prevailed above the blessings of my progenitors.
His progenitors. Who would be his Joseph's progenitor then? Your progenitor is your father. That's who made you. So he said the blessing is sent. So the blessing didn't come from Jacob then, did it? Because he said thy father. Wouldn't that be a confusing statement to make when your daddy talking to you, telling you that? So the blessing go past Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He said thy father. He talking about Yahuwah. He ain't talking about him, because he just would have said your blessings would have extended past me. Go ahead, sir.
Unto the utmost bounds of everlasting.
We just read about an everlasting hill. What is that everlasting hill? That's Zion. That's Jerusalem. Go ahead.
They shall be on the head of Joseph and on the crown of the head of him that was separate from his brother.
Separate from his brethren. What caused him to be separated from his brethren? Yahuwah caused him to be separated from his brethren. And what did his brethren do in the cause to cause him to be separated? They tried to kill him. They tried to kill him. So guess what? Did he just tell you? 1 John chapter 4, man, verse 4. See, that's why ain't nobody gonna get no crown, because you ain't trying to be made separate from your brethren. You don't want to be separate from these people. And you're gonna have to be. Yeah, and then you could go back to Jeremiah 50. 4 and 4.
It say, ye are Elohim, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world.
Didn't Joseph overcome his brothers? He definitely overcame them. And wasn't Yahuwah in him? That's not to say as if he wasn't in his brother, but we know Yahuwah was in Joseph based on Genesis 37. They said, we gonna bow down to you too? So they hated him even more for his dreams. I can't stand this nigga. Go ahead.
They are of the world, therefore speak they of the world, and the world heareth them.
That's the thing I be telling you, right? If you are of the world, then the world can relate to you. If you're not of the world cannot relate to you. And that will cause people who are of the world that they don't really want to fool with you. Because your conversation is different. The way you carry yourself is different. The way you move is different. And they don't want to deal with you. Go ahead. And I'm talking about, and I ain't just talking about people who in the world, how we use that terminology. You know what I'm talking about? That could be even people who claim and profess to be servants of Elohim. They won't even hear you. You know why I said that? Matter of fact, give me John 8 and 12. I'll show you why I said that. Because we know that, because that's church terminology for the most part when you say, oh, they in the world. And you think about people who don't serve y'all. But when you talking about people in the world, you talking about somebody of a carnal mind frame. And the first time that he uses that statement, Mashiach used that statement, he talking to other people who profess that Yahuwah is the Elohim. John 8 and 12.
It say, then spake Yahushua again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that follows me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life.
Yeah.
The Pharisees therefore said unto him, thou bearest record of thyself, thy record is not true.
It ain't true.
Yahushua answered and said unto them, though I bear record of myself.
My record is what?
My record is true.
Oh, go ahead.
For I know whence I came, and whither I go.
Go ahead.
But ye cannot tell whence I come or whither I go.
You can't tell.
Ye judge after the flesh, and I judge no man.
Yep.
And And yet if I judge, my judgment is true.
Why?
For I am not alone.
He's not a what?
I am not alone.
Why?
But I and the Father that sent me.
Go ahead.
It is also written in your law that the testimony of 2 men is true.
Is what?
It's true.
Is what?
It's true.
See, that's another thing too. I'm gonna let y'all know something too. And this goes whether you married or not. If someone is offending you to the point where you feel like it's an issue, and you take it to them and it's not resolved, then you need to get 2 or 3 more people to establish that matter before they face. And if they don't want to hear that, then you need to drag that nigga right here in front of everybody and let everybody hear. You know what I'm saying? And all that stuff worrying about, I don't want to put my business in the street, that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. If somebody is offending you and it's a matter of the word, then it need to be dealt with. And if you don't want to get drugged in front of everybody, and if you don't want 2 or 3 witnesses to establish a matter, then stop offending people. And you won't have to worry about it. Do you know what I'm saying? Straight up and down. If the person is telling you this is offending me, and you don't handle that, because ain't that's what the book say? So I don't care if you married on that. Oh, I'm married. I don't care nothing about that. That's a soul issue. So it needs to be handled. You know what I'm saying? It needs to be handled. A person shouldn't have to tell you 7 or 8 times that's something that you're actually doing to them. Not you being in your feelings about something that nobody's not doing to you. Something that someone is actually doing to you is offending you. Because guess what? Before she your wife, she your sister in the Mashiach. You need to remember that. Before he's your husband, he's your brother in the Mashiach. You need to remember that. You know what I'm saying? You need to remember that. Before they're your spouse, they are your brother and sister in Elohim. You need to remember that. You know what I'm talking about? So that's how that operates. That's how that handles. A lot of stuff get nipped to the bud. It doesn't mean you got to come get me. All it says is go get 2 or 3 witnesses. Who your 2 or 3 witnesses you go get is up to you. And all the 2 or 3 witnesses for is to establish that if this person is offending you or injuring you, that you can lay that case out, that they can say, you know what, you wrong for that, sister. You wrong for that, brother. You might need to correct that. That's all it is. Because that's how that's supposed to work. Because if we go look at our law, they drug people in front of everybody for pretty much everything. You know what I'm saying? Now, your personal business, nobody wants to hear your personal business. You keep your personal business to yourself. You know what I'm talking about? We talking about strictly someone has done something that is offending you. Do we not remember how we read what Paul stated, that I seek not to have offense towards Elohim and man? We talking about offending you. I ain't talking about your personal business. Nobody want to know your personal business. You know what I'm talking about? Period. Keep your personal business to yourself. You tell that who do you want to tell it to. Go ahead. But I'm going to sit back and tell you though, offense and sin, that is my business. We're in that line of work. You sound like you good and sick, boy. I hope you got some sanitizer over there, because I don't want none of your cooties you got over there. What was that? She over there singing. You must have had cooties all the time when you were little. You look like it. Go ahead. No, I'm not. Continue on. I ain't got to what I wanted yet.
We have verse 17. Is it also written in your law that the testimony of 2 men is true? I am the one that bear witness of myself, and the Father that sent me bears witness of me.
Yep.
Then said they unto him, where is thy father? Yahushua answered, ye neither know me nor my father.
You don't know me or my father. Why?
If you had known me, you should have known my father also.
Why would, now remember, right? Now why do you think he make that statement? That's based off what we looked at last night. Because if they would have known him, they would have been seeing the experience of Elohim. They would have beheld it, and they would have known Yahuwah. But since they didn't know the experience, they weren't going to know him or his father. And that's what it goes into. If you actually know the text and you pay attention to what the text says instead of your own personal opinions and how you feel like somebody's supposed to serve y'all or what you think somebody's supposed to serve y'all, and actually look at what the word and look at somebody's actions, you'll be able to tell who is who and who is not. It's not hard to tell. It's very, very simple. We make it difficult because we let our vain opinion get in the way, because we feel like a person should act like this or a person should do that. And that's how you get deceived. Because they feel like Yahushua was supposed to act and move a particular way, and he didn't do it. And they killed him for it. So that's what happens when you think that a person should, I think a man of God should do this or a woman of God should do that. But what does the word say? And is that person manifesting what the word say? Because when a nigga pop up showing you what you think they supposed to do, you'll follow, which means you'll follow the beast and take that mark and then be burning in hell forever, because there ain't no forgiveness for you after that. Because you're supposed to know the word. You're supposed to know the word to be able to identify. You're supposed to know it. It told you one before. Just ask yourself, are you closer to a Yahudim or are you closer to a sinner? And if the answer is a sinner, you have a serious problem. With your heart. With your heart. Because ain't nowhere in the world would Yahuwah be close to a sinner? Just ask yourself that question. And if you say you his son or you his daughter and you close to a sinner, clearly you are a liar and the truth ain't in you. Because for Yahuwah to get close to a sinner, guess what the sinner got to do? He got to convert. He got to repent. Then you wouldn't be a sinner no more. Because you think Yahuwah going to be hanging out with sinners on the last day? Giving them high fives and patting them on the head and say, well, you gave it a good old ball yard try. He's not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? That's going into, if you want that crown of life like he talked about with Joseph, then you have to separate yourself. When we're talking about this, you don't mean you ain't got to have dealings with people, but ain't nowhere in the world I could be close to somebody who is ungodly. Didn't Jehoshaphat get in trouble for that? He said, how can you love them that hate Yahuwah? That's what Yah said to him. Do you know what I'm talking about? So that's the stuff you have to consider. Because you could do and hang with whoever you want to. But if you want to hang with Yahuwah, then you got to roll with what Yahuwah got going on. Go ahead, sir.
But these words spake Yahushua in the treasury, and he taught in the temple, and no man laid hands on him, for his hour had yet come.
And what did he say after that?
Then Yahushua again said unto them, I go my way, and ye shall seek me, and shall die in your sins.
You shall what?
Die in your sins.
Why?
Whither I go, ye cannot come. Then said the Yahudim, will he kill himself? Because he said, whither I go, ye cannot come. And he said unto them, ye are from beneath, and I am from above.
You are from what?
You are from beneath, and I am from above.
You from the dust of the earth. I'm from eternity. Go ahead.
Ye are of this world, and I am not of this world. I said therefore unto you that ye shall die in your sins, for if ye believe not that I am he, ye shall die in your sins.
Now go back to 1 John 4. Now you see how that make a difference? Because they were of the world. That's why they didn't hear him. That's why all the people flocked to the scribes and the Pharisees and everything they were talking about. Because they were from the world. They were all carnal. They were all sons of Adam. They couldn't hear a son of Elohim. Because they were not from above. That means that change. You have to change your mentality for that. 1 John 4 and 4.
It says, ye are Elohim, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. They are of the world, therefore speak they of the world, and the world heareth them. We are of Elohim. He that knoweth Elohim heareth us. He that is not of Elohim heareth not us. Hereby we know the spirit of truth and the spirit of error. So somebody who is of Elohim would know somebody else who is of Elohim. Ain't gonna be no doubts about it. They ain't gonna have to think about it. They would already know. Why do you think they would already know? Because when we sat back and looked at that strip, they would be able to tell that this person has been taught to be joined together to the covenant of life. They would already know. And how would that be manifested? It would manifest in their behavior. A nigga can't tell you they love y'all and go knock down 3-4 hoes. Nigga can't tell you that. You supposed to already sit back and look at that behavior. You know, y'all is forgiven, but I know you don't belong to them though. I don't care what your mouth say. You know what I'm talking about? I don't care how much you like them. I don't care how cool you think they is. That nigga's wicked. That nigga's wicked. Ain't no way around that. That's where you get to the point where you don't exercise good and evil, that you can make judgments and discernment and be able to tell. I praise the Lamb. I ain't been wrong once. It ain't because of me though. It's just because I know the book. I already know. Oh, that nigga wicked. How you know? Just wait for it. Don't the word say wickedness proceed from the wicked? An evil tree can't bring forth no good fruit. You can't tell me you no righteous nigga doing that wicked junk you pulling, nigga. You sell that to somebody else. That's like telling me you got some waterfront property in the desert to sell me and I'm going to give you $1 million for it. You're not finna sell me on that because you might like a nigga personally. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how much I like you personally. Clearly, nigga, you wicked. Your actions prove that. You know what I'm talking about? That's all you got to look at. Look at the actions. Where is the gentleness and goodness at? Oh, you only gentle and good to who you want to be. You know what I'm talking about? Where your faith at? Oh, when you get in a tight situation, you fold, and then you say, well, I did have faith, just not right then. Come on, my nigga. I'm not going for that, my nigga. I'm not going for that. And I don't care who don't like it. That's why niggas get mad. That's why Yahushua told him, you from beneath, I'm from above. And they were mad at him.
Because he wasn't playing them games with them niggas, man, and telling them what they want to hear and saying, yeah, you right. He said, you don't know me or my daddy, so you need to go ahead on somewhere. Because you full of crap. You know you full of crap. And what you want me to do? That's what I'm sitting and telling you. You can, if you are not an authentic individual, you cannot serve y'all. It's impossible because he is an authentic individual. His son is an authentic individual. They do not care about people's feelings. They don't care about how you personally view something. It's strictly according to the standard of the word which they laid forth from the foundation of the world. And you can get down with it or you can lay down. But I'm not going to bend it and bulge it to make you feel better. Do you know what I'm talking about? You can get in line with it or you can die. Don't make me damn bit of difference. My name will be esteemed and my will be accomplished, irregardless if you're a part of it or not. And that's how you feel about it. You can follow me and live, or you can reject me and die. But I'm going to let you make that decision. I'm not going to make it for you. And when he made that statement in John 8, he was talking to people who said that Yahuwah was their Elohim. Not no Canaanites. You know what I'm talking about? Not no Hivites, not no Jebusites. He said, you are the world, nigga. When you think John, who John writing that epistle to? You think he writing to the Gentiles? Only Paul wrote letters to Gentiles. He writing to Hebrews. And he telling them, oh, they ain't, you know, they ain't all. He said, by this you will know who is of the faith and who is of the devil. That's what he said. You know what I'm talking about? I could walk in a room full of people and the people not going to hear nothing I'm talking about. Do you know what I'm talking about? Man, that nigga there crazy. Oh, man, bro, I want to hear all that, bro. I'm not on that. You know what I'm saying? You ain't even got to open your mouth and say nothing to be talking about the word. You could just be talking about how you live. Or they see how you live. They not on that. They not on that. Man, get that nigga from around me, man. Don't call that nigga around here, bro. That nigga don't know how to have fun. He don't smoke no weed. He don't hit no hoes. He don't drink no alcohol. He don't go to no club. What fun is this nigga? Then you supposed to sit back and look at, if you are Elohim, how can you really sincerely tell me you are delighted and enjoy to sit around a room full of degenerate sinners? Do you know what I'm talking about? Knowing that you used to be a degenerate sinner. So you know what they got going on and what they trying to do, because you know, because you used to do it. So you don't look at him like, oh, I'm better than you. You looking at it as, if I fool with you, I'm going to be right back to where I was before I knew this. So I can't fool with you. That's the point of it all. Not that I'm better than you. You nasty, no good sinner. No, I was a degenerate. I don't want to be one no more. And if I sit around here with you too long, I'm going to be a degenerate again. And I'd have made a proclamation of faith that that's not the direction of what I'm going. So I can't sit around here with you. Come at him, right? If you don't smoke crack, would you sit in a room full of people who smoking rocks? Dang, we right here sitting with... Only time I sat in a room full of people smoking rock, I was selling rocks. That wasn't nobody but Alicia, because she around there smoking. You got a hit in your purse right now. Don't make me pull no troubleshooter out your purse now. That's what we used to call them stems. Call it a troubleshooter. That's what they use to shoot their troubles away. I'm dead serious. That's what we used to call them. The nigga got his troubleshooter. Shoot, that's what them blunts was. That was your troubleshooter. Let me ease my mind. These people stressing me on my job. My old lady getting on my nerves. Let me go in the store and get a troubleshooter. And whichever one it was. Was it a Dutch? Was it a Philly? Which one did you like? Optimals might have been before y'all time. Little L. He like a little L product though. He old Northside nigga. That's why he smoked though. That's what they smoke across the bridge. No, I don't know the zone. Yes, indeed. Might be by the old zone too. Could be zone 1, depending on where you at on the north side. Zone 4 is west side. Zone 5, I don't know what zone 5 is. I don't venture out that way. You know what I'm saying? But you had to look at that though. Like that'd be like this here, right? I done sat down with dudes while they were on the block and preached the word to them. But you gonna sit in their trap though? You gonna hang out with them in the trap? Guess what happened when you walk out there? I was just preaching the gospel to him. I bet you was, nigga. I bet you was. Because remember, what the Psalms 1 tell you, right? Blessed is he that don't go in the way of sinners. So you're a blessed individual if you don't go in the direction and do the things that they doing. You can't tell me you blessed and you going, because that contradicts the word. See, when somebody hear that, you thinking you speaking, no, that contradicts the word. That's what Yahuwah said. Yahuwah said is, blessed are those who don't take the counsel of the ungodly, nor go into the way of sinners, who meditate on the Torah of Yahuwah day and night. So that means you've made a conscious decision to separate yourself. It doesn't mean that if you see them at family functions or certain things that you may not attend, you just don't deal with them in the same capacity. And I'm definitely not going to do what you, that'll be like my homie, boy, we hit the strip club tonight. Well, shoot, boy, I'm going to go around there. I ain't going to tip none of them hoes no way. What you in there for then? What you going around there for? This is a den of iniquity. Ain't nothing here but butt naked hoes, lust, and drugs, and alcohol. Like, why am I here? What am I hanging out in here for?
Gotta be a light in darkness.
Gotta be a light in darkness. I done had nigga tell me you gotta go in the strip club and get them. You gotta go in the clubs and preach the word. Get your stupid behind out of here. Every person in here that been in the club before, you know the last thing you wanted to hear was nigga come preaching the gospel. Somebody get this man out of here.
Get him a drink.
Get him a drink. What that nigga say? Somebody boo this man. Get this man out of here.
Friend need a drink.
That's what I was doing in Thailand.
Get this man
That's
out of here.
In Thailand, at the end of the party, I used to be on the mic. Like, read out loud.
I'd have threw something at you. You know what I'm talking about? Don't go out there fornicate. You've been playing tunes where fornication has been played all night. Ain't nothing but half naked hoes licking weed. And then this nigga go get on the mic at the end. Y'all serve God now, you hear?
Butt rubbing all night. Go on, read the Bible.
This nigga been,
say it like that.
shoot, you might as well have said it like that. This woman been grinding her butt on this man's pelvic region all night. And you talking about it's time for us to read our Bible. Somebody hit this man in the head with a bottle.
I did. Go on, read that Bible.
That nigga done been ducking bottles fooling with me. Wow. Want to hear all that? You should have said that at the beginning. So we could have got this man out of here. Get this man off the microphone. You know what I'm talking about? That's crazy though, but I'm using these examples so you can know why you want to hang with sinners. Do you know what I'm talking about? I don't understand that point. You should rather hang alone than run with sinners. And the reason why I say that is because if the word Tob means to join, you know what I'm talking about? The word Levi, the name Levi means to join. So if you're in a Mashiach and the Mashiach is in you and you join to him and you say you closer to a sinner than a Yahudim, then you can't tell me Yah is in you, because Yah would never do that. Nobody who's ever been close to Yah in this book ran with a circle of ungodly people. You won't find that in this book. You know what I'm talking about? That's not going to happen, because Yahuwah does not participate in iniquity and uncleanliness. He separates himself from it. So those who are of him will separate themselves from it because of the blessings that lie under the deep. Because you've been resurrected from the dead to walk in newness of life. So what you did before that, you don't do that no more. Again, this don't mean you turn your nose down on somebody and be like, that fornicator. Like a lot of Hebrews do. You know Sunday people do it. I'm talking about around here slobbing and bobbing and slurping and burping more than anybody and walking the streets.
So how do you feel about what Judah did? That made him wicked.
That was a transgression what Judah did.
But, okay. Oh, I thank you.
Yeah, that was a transgression on Judah's part. Because he didn't make him, because he did, but he did let it be know how he handled the situation wasn't righteous. That's why he told Tamar, you are more righteous than I. Because you know I was supposed, and he was really referring to the part of, you know I'm supposed to bring my son around here. And I ain't bring my son around here.
I was thinking about him not keeping law and then him tricking on top of that.
Well, you know, they tricked back then. You know, he's a carnal man just like everybody else, and clearly wanted to get his rocks off, and he committed a little sin, a little transgression, one or two, whichever one you want to choose.
He had about 3 offenses in that story.
But his biggest offense was not bringing his son to that woman like he was supposed to.
Yeah.
That was his biggest one, because that's the one he called out himself.
Yeah.
And told her, you more righteous than I am. That also showed his humility. He let it be known, oh, I'm dead wrong. Then after that, they tried to kill his brother. And they were Judah, the one spoke up, said don't kill him. But he was down with the selling, though.
That's what I'm saying. That boy has some counts.
I mean, but shoot, but we know that they ain't determined to be wicked, but they definitely had some transgression. They all got some transgression going on.
Yeah.
They all got that going on.
He was still righteous.
He was still a righteous man. He just was transgressor. Because he had, we won't say isolated, because each instance was different.
Yeah.
He wasn't doing the same thing over and over again. But he was thinking carnally, though, in every situation. And he went after what his flesh said was right to do versus what he knew was right to do. Now, he don't say nothing about the tricking. I just guess he felt like tricking. Maybe his wife was dead. I don't know. He seen a young tender with a veil on. He said, you know what? I got some bangles for you.
Where is that not okay now? You know it's okay.
It wasn't okay then.
Okay.
He didn't stab him then. He ain't stabbed him then. The nigga just went and drank. No, clearly it was common practice. They say prostitution, the world's oldest profession, and the book so do show it. But these hoes definitely out here selling a little booty. They got new ways to sell booty. They sell booty on Instagram. They sell booty on Backpage. Sell booty on Craigslist. Sell booty on the chat line.
That's a free tangible good that can be used over and over.
Over and over. Now some of it can't be used over and over. Some of it get wore out and get disease. And you can't use no more.
It still works.
Might as well be broke. Come on back here to Jeremiah 50. Throw that junk back. Showed up. Throw it back.
You see that? It's still good.
Well, you know, some men don't care. Some men definitely do not care.
All right, Jeremiah 50. We at verse 5. It say, they shall not ask the way to Zion with their faces thitherward, saying, come and let us join ourselves to you who in a perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten. My people have been lost sheep.
They've been what?
Lost sheep.
And they what?
The shepherds have caused them to go astray.
Who caused them to go astray?
The shepherds.
Who caused them to go astray?
The shepherds. They have turned them away on mountains, and they have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place.
They for good. That's good right there. The word for the cause them to go astray is ta'ah. Does anybody got any good idea? And it means to err, to wander, to go astray of sin, or to make one drunk. Make you a drunkard. Does anybody got any idea what characters you can use for that? And if not, I'll tell them to you. It's not a big deal. But you should be able to catch it because it's the same word as ra'ah. It's ta'ah. That's it. You just got a difference of a letter.
How you say it? What was the word?
Ta'ah.
Oh, ta'ah.
Same word as ra'ah. Same pronunciation, just a T instead of a R. So you know in the ra'ah you had the ayin and the hay, so now you got the what? So what's the meanings of ta'u? Because we got the ayin and the hay. So what we gonna get from that sentence? Because remember, right, with ta'u we got what? You got the mark, you got the sign, the seal, a covenant, join together, or the last. With the ayin, you got the watch or the know or the word or conversion in the soul or experience.
I thought you said the towel in the head.
No, it's the ayin. It's the same thing as wrong. No, you got the ayin and the hay. And then with the hay, you got a man with a raised arm looking into greatness, to behold, to reveal, or to breathe. You use that. Let's see what we'll look at with ayin, right? We got the eye, watch, to know, the word, or conversion in the soul. So we would turn around and look at, because he said he caused them to go astray. So we would sit back and maybe look at that one there is to probably to know the word. Because clearly the shepherds know the word, but they're causing these people to go astray. When we look at the hay and you turn around and you look at a raised arm, or to behold, or to reveal, or to breathe, which one do you think you would use for that? I don't think it would be to look or behold. It might be the more so to look at, to reveal. Because they're not revealing to them the word. And then when you take the tile, then you're gonna take it and you're gonna bring in what? That covenant. They're not revealing. Exactly. That's how you're gonna look at that. So that causes them to wander, or to be what? Or to be drunk. So go to Lamentation chapter 2. Pick me up by verse 20. Exactly. Lamentation chapter 2. Pick me up at verse 20. Make sure that's what I want. It could be a little higher than that though. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It could be higher than that. What I want. Yeah, it was. Give me verse 12. Or make it verse 13. Lamentations chapter 2 and verse 13.
What things shall I take to witness for thee? What things shall I liken to thee, O daughter of Jerusalem? What shall I equal to thee, that I may comfort thee, O virgin daughter of Zion? For thy breach is great like the sea. Who can heal thee? Thy prophets have seen vain and foolish things for thee.
Hold on, run that back.
Thy prophets have seen vain and foolish things for thee, and they have not discovered thine iniquity.
They haven't what?
Discovered thine iniquity.
So they didn't make known to you the covenant for it to be removed, did it? And guess what it say after that?
and to turn thy captivity.
To turn out what?
Turn away thy captivity.
And what else?
But have seen for thee false burdens and causes of banishment.
Causes of what?
Banishment.
So they called it, they're not getting this stuff up off of you. So let's go to Jeremiah 23 and about verse 14.
It says, I have seen also prophets of Jerusalem and horrible things. They commit adultery. They walk in lies. They strengthen also the hands of evildoers, that none do return from his wickedness. They are all of them unto me as Sodom, and inhabitants thereof of Gomorrah. Therefore thus says you who oppose concerning the prophets, behold, I will feed them with wormwood and make. What
are these prophets causing to happen?
They are causing.
They're not teaching the people the word, are they? They're causing the people to get banished and destroyed. And they telling the wicked that they're going to be saved and the righteous that they're going to be destroyed. Let's look at something in Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 8. You have to sit back and look at it. If the shepherds are supposed to be causing you to behold the experience of the head, but instead they're causing you to not behold that experience because they're not revealing the word to you. They're not revealing the word, so they're not teaching the people what they need to know. And people say, and so that's when you actually look at the history of the text, that lone wolf stuff that people be doing, and this, that, and the third. That's where that's never been the case. Meaning, I don't need nobody to teach me. I stay to the house and do it myself. He never operated like that. That comes in that because niggas have a despising of authority, or they're like, I don't want to be up under no false teacher, or this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? That's not never how it went down.
In the text, the lone wolf was always the wicked people.
It was always wicked people
trying to separate themselves from the right way.
To do what they want to do and set it up how they want to set it up, to eventually draw away disciples to follow after them. Just according to what's written.
See that with the northern kingdom?
Every time. Whether you look at Absalom, whether you look at they went off to do what they wanted to do. And then they were eventually able to draw other people to follow behind that. That they were wrong, because that's never been the way of Yahuwah. You can't sit back and say that. Niggas scream the law all the time, but the law say you had to go to the Levite to get the word. Which is why in Malachi he went off on the Levites, because he said you wasn't keeping your end of the bargain, and that you went astray because you weren't doing what you were supposed to be doing. Which is why he said, I will give you pastors according to my heart, and they will feed you with knowledge and understanding. You know what I'm saying? So you know heart is a lamp, so he gonna say, I'm gonna teach these men who've been taught to get. I came up with the way of understanding. That's what he said in Isaiah 40, right? I came up with it. Ain't nobody taught me. I taught them how to get into the house so they could cause you to behold my experience so you could come get in the house. But a nigga sit back and look at it is, same way I told you. You can't tell me you a virtuous woman, you want a righteous man, and y'all put one in your face and you say, I don't want him, I'll wait on the next one. Because the next one never coming. They not like buses. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's the same way with somebody who preaching the word. The people, I don't want this preach, I don't want this prophet, I don't want that prophet. And guess what they went to screaming to Jeremiah? Our prophets have gone and we no longer get a vision. Because you ain't want them, nigga, so he stopped sending them. So he stopped sending them. That's how that works. That's how that works. You could take who is sin, or you could take nothing at all. But you won't get it how you want it. Because this is not this ain't no buffet, this ain't Burger King, this ain't your own pleasure, it ain't none of that. It ain't none of that. Because people, if you've seen it in the Sunday church, people going from spot to spot, they want to build a pastor, or build a prophet.
Build a bear.
Build a bear. Build this person how I want him, so he can give me the word how I want to receive it. Not how Yahuwah want to give it, but how I want it to be given. And you will say, that's fine. You can go to hell with him. because they're not causing your captivity to be turned, and they causing you to remain banished. So you can't never come unto me. Because I ain't sending this nigga to get you to come unto me in the first place. He said, I have not sent these prophets, but they ran. He said, I haven't spoken, but they prophesied. Go ahead, man. I don't know. Where you start at? 3 and 8.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna like. It says, for Jerusalem is ruined and Judah is fallen because their tongue and their doings are against Yahuwah to provoke the eyes of his esteem.
Say they tongue, he say they mouth and they actions are against me.
It say, the shoe of their countenance doth witness against them, and they declare their sins in Sodom, and they hide it not. Woe unto their soul, for they have rewarded evil unto themselves.
And you open with your wickedness and what you got going on. You don't even care that this man see what you doing. Go ahead.
Say ye to the righteous that it shall be well with him,
Yep.
for they shall eat the fruit of their own doings. Woe unto the wicked, it shall be ill with him, for the reward of his hand shall be given him. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which led thee cause thee to err.
Those that are leading you are causing you to err. And guess what else it say?
And destroy the way of thy path.
And it's destroying your way to get to the highest. You can't even get to him. This is why he got all the stuff that he got set up. These the people I want to do it. Because they gonna leave. It's the same token, right? Y'all familiar with the story of the young lady that had the evil spirits in her? And she seen Paul. Do y'all know what she said when she seen Paul? When she seen Paul, she said, there are the men of Elohim who show us the way of salvation. Because the demons know. Man, you ever sit back and look at it, right? Them unclean spirits know when these flawed niggas standing up preaching they not of Yahuwah. He said, Yahusha, I know. Paul, I know. But who are you? Do you know what I'm talking about? So that go to show you that just because you standing up doing something don't mean Yahuwah stamp it or is with you in your endeavor. Because them men was getting off with it. They was casting out demons in his name and everything, one. Dropping word and everything. Them unclean spirits said, boy, I know who Paul is because I heard about you. I seen your name on the rolls last time I was up there. We definitely know who Yahusha is. I don't know who this nigga is. You know who that nigga is? No, I don't know who that nigga is. You just did that work for nothing. You ain't got nothing coming to you. Because ain't nobody sent you to do it. And where dudes will get work, and you can see how smooth Yah is with it. He let him have a little bit of success with it too.
Some a lot.
Some a lot. Just to make you, to strengthen you to feel like he riding with me. But you know how wicked and unbelieving you are outside of it, because they were doing it for a different reason. See, now those individuals we dealing with Paul when they made that proclamation, but actually it's the same story, is I don't even think they had heard the word and been immersed yet. They just seen them doing it and just jumped up and went and did it. Do you know what I'm saying? Shoot, they casting out evil clean. Shoot, I want to do it too. That's the day and time we live in right now. He preaching the word, I want to do it too. He say you're a prophet, I want to be one too. Do you know what I'm talking about? Whole bunch of people go to hell like that. Don't give them Matthew 15 and 11. Not trying to be funny, poke it, because you'll know who Yah sent because it's going to be evidence in their behavior. Their level of understanding is not indicative of who Yah sent. Their level of knowledge and wisdom is not indicative of who Yah sent. Who Yah sent is indicative by the level of faith and righteous living that they exhibit. That's how you gonna know.
Like you said in John, 1 John 4, they ain't gonna see that if they not about him.
No, they're not gonna see it. They'll see it for a little while, like they seen it with Yahusha, and they gonna say kill him. I ain't like that nigga no way. He always talking about sin. It make me uncomfortable.
Especially if they see that consistency.
Oh yeah, that's the thing that they gonna despise the most is it's consistent. Cause guess what the book say? I am Yahuwah, I change not. Yahusha HaMashiach, the same yesterday, today, and forever. You gotta watch for a nigga who switch up. You been around a nigga in the world, that nigga switch up all the time. Truth be told, boy, you gotta watch for niggas who change friends a lot. You definitely got to watch for niggas who change friends a lot. I ain't talking about your circle changes over time. You know, you outgrow certain people. You run across other certain people. You share the same ideals. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about niggas swap friends out every 60 days, 90 days. Click hopping, going from person to person. That nigga a news reporter and wicked. Straight up and down. Niggas like this here changing niggas, because you got it, because you done been around all these different people. Like I already told you, it's already shameful for a man to have a T. I don't even know why you sitting around with that. Knowing niggas' business, a grown man? That means you ain't doing nothing with your life if you got enough time to seek out everybody's business. Like I said, it's not cool for a woman, but you know, the stereotype is that's what women do. I'm not saying that is true, that's just the stereotype. You know what I'm talking about? But a man? Boy, you know everything a nigga doing? I done had too many people. Do you know about this? No, I ain't know about it. They looking at me crazy. Why would I know about it? Why am I asking? I got too much to do over on my end to be worried about what this nigga doing. I heard Floyd Mayweather talk about that the other day. They were talking about Donald Trump. He said, I don't care nothing about what Donald Trump. He said, I can't get nothing done worrying about what Donald Trump doing. He said, I don't spend my time worrying about what somebody else is doing. I spend my time worrying about what I got to do. You know what I'm saying? When you talking about what somebody doing, meaning what they do on a day in and day out basis, not their actual welfare and well-being. There's nothing wrong if you're concerned and want to know about somebody's actual welfare. Like, how you doing? You holding up? Life treating you good? You ain't got nothing you got going on you want to talk about to get off your chest because you look like you're stressed. See, that's a little different than asking a nigga.
Yeah, you ain't fishing.
You ain't fishing. You actually genuinely concerned for their well-being. You know what I'm saying? Versus you just want something to go tell a nigga. Yeah, you got to watch niggas like that change friends, though. Because get what? Yahusha ain't switch up his friends, did he? Same people ran with him from the foundation of the world. He said, I'm going to run with these niggas over here. Now, they don't tell me what I want to hear, so I'm going to run over here and run with these niggas over here. Now I'm going to run. No, man, you want to do nobody like that? Not at all. Continue on, sir. What, we in Isaiah 3?
No, I think you said Matthew 15.
Yeah, I did. 15 and 11.
It says, not that which goeth into the mouth defile the man, but that which cometh out of the mouth defile the man. Then came his disciples and said unto him, knowest thou that the Pharisees were offended after they heard this saying?
They were mad. Guess what he said though?
Every plant which my heavenly Father have not planted shall be rooted up.
Yep.
Let them alone, they be blind leaders of the blind.
And if they be, what did he say to do?
Let them alone.
He said, leave them what?
Alone.
Leave them alone. Go ahead.
They be blind leaders of the blind, and if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the
That's what you have to sit back and look at. He ain't tell you run them fake preachers down. He said leave them alone. Leave them alone. So I ain't finna, you know what I'm talking about. I remember they called me, don't tell me what another nigga doing, what they preaching at. What you calling me telling me about what these niggas doing? Nigga, I don't care. That ain't got nothing to do with me.
cast down the false doctrine.
You know what I'm saying? Nigga, I don't care. Or, oh man, you heard about this nigga? Nah, I ain't heard about these niggas over here, bro. I don't care what them niggas doing. You know what I'm saying? Okay, like when we caught them niggas in Hammond Plaza, that's cause them niggas provoked that one. They asked for it. So they had to get what they were looking for. Cause I wasn't fooling with them. We were standing over there by them. I ain't say nothing to them. They were shooting shots. They were throwing subliminals the whole time. And then they decided to pick on somebody who they felt like they could whoop. So they brought that on themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because if they wouldn't have said nothing, we would have left them alone. What you look like contending with a dummy for? Take it off then.
It be the same way though when you righteous though. That's what it say. They gonna do the same.
They gonna do the same thing to you.
Especially they know you ain't on no time. It's like you saying you see them niggas in the gym. Niggas saying what they had to say.
Yeah. I see IUIC in the gym. I say, yeah, boy, where y'all kick it at? I figured they was IUIC, but I wasn't sure yet. But I'm being genuine. Like, I'm not coming to have no scriptural battle with you. I will come sit down and have a conversation with you. I will build with you. I have no problem, regardless of what you teach or believe, I will at least have a conversation with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not coming here to fight you and battle you on doctrine. I'm not on that type of time. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't make any sense.
How you do that, Bruce?
They had fringes on.
All praise.
All praise. That's what they kept saying. I seen them. They were like, "What camp you with?" I said, "We said we started our own. All praises. All praises." That's all I got. He said, "Well, I'm gonna holler at you in a minute." Man, them niggas slid right up out that gym. Right on up out.
Holla at you before we leave out.
He literally told me, I'ma holler at you before we leave. Now you know it's a sin to lie.
You boys looked over there in the mirror.
They ain't even look in the mirror. Them niggas just dip. And one of them niggas walked past me because he left his backpack and say, all praises, brother. And dip. And dip. I'm like, dang, my nigga, I just wanted to rap with you. I wasn't trying to get into. So you believe in the virgin birth? Do you believe in baptism? I'm not doing all of that. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, they left you alone.
Because I already knew what type of time you was on, so if that's the case, I ain't coming to battle. I ran into another brother in there. He ain't part of no group. He said, I've been keeping the lunar Sabbath. You know what I'm saying? This up there in the third. I say, well, shoot, just holler at me, man. Whenever you can holler at me. I'll talk to anybody about the word, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to try to recruit you. You know what I'm saying? Like, them brothers asked. If they wouldn't have said, oh, what congregation you part of, or this, that, I would have never told them. You know what I'm saying? They didn't know I preached or nothing because I didn't tell them. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with the dude, the other dude. Because he heard me, matter of fact, he heard me talking to Alicia on the phone about Moses. He said, you in the truth? I said, yeah, man. He said, yeah, Moses, man, he dealt with a lot, man. He dealt with a lot. I said, yeah, he did. He did. He did. You know what I mean?
It's not gonna be awkward, this will be funny.
You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Come on, man. We good in that though. We need to crank it up a notch. Come on, we read that first. All this coming from that 1 Peter chapter 2, right?
Sure.
We need to go back to it. Well, we already read it because that's why I said let's go find that astray. So, right, he leading them astray, but we got another word, and that's resting place. And that word for resting place is revetz. And the characters for that is the Rosh, the Bat, and the Sod. So what do you think we would get from that when we think about we don't have our resting place? He made them to forget their resting place. We know the Sod is what? The desire. Let me look at the other stuff that's with it. You don't want to pop up. There you go. Well, the fish hook, or the pull towards, or laying on one side, or a journey. I think from the context of the verse we're looking at, that journey might be more applicable, or desire, or the journey to desire in this particular statement. You know, indeed. So then we got the bot, which is, we know it could be the house, but it also is the path, or the be in, or the without, or the family. But in this one here, resting place, we would probably want to go with house on this one. You know what I'm saying? We probably want to go on the house on this one. And then we got the Rosh. We know we got the head. I'm looking for all the other ones, and this nigga don't want to show up over here. We got the head and the chief, the first, the most important, or your thoughts.
There you go. That's it right there.
What, the most important?
What are your thoughts?
Or your thoughts? But we talking about your resting place. Because he's caused them to forget the resting place which they're returning back to, which is Zion. Which is Jerusalem. That's where they're coming back to. So when we look at it, it is the journey to the house of the head. Because what did David say? It was better for him that he would rather be a what? A doorkeeper in the house of Yahuwah than to dwell in the tents of wickedness. How many of y'all feel that way? You'd rather be a doorkeeper? I remember that I heard that white dude say he'd rather mop floors in the kingdom of Shamahin than to not get in at all. You know what I'm talking about? And that's the desire. That's where you want to be at. Like how bad you want to be in there. If you had to scoop poop, which you knew you wouldn't have to do, would you do it to get in there though? If this man told you I need you to walk around and scoop up poop every day for eternity, would you have a problem with it? You'll be with Elohim though. We know right now there's some people that say they'll reject the kingdom of Shamahin just because Yahusha black. But he calls them to forget his resting place. This is what the shepherds, you see how that tied back to that Psalms 137 we read? How he said, if I forget Jerusalem, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. Because these false prophets and these lies are causing you to forget where you rested at or where the sheep lay down at. You know what I'm talking about? Let's go to John chapter 10. Cause we don't have to crank it up a notch, but I don't want it to last too long. As far as the clock is concerned, because they ain't number 4:30. Matter of fact, before we get to John 10, let's do it like this here. Let's go to that's what I want to use. Go to Genesis 47. Go to Genesis 47 and 1. That nigga there crazy.
I need some sassy.
That nigga there crazy.
That out of the clutch. I know we had some ready for him hot in the thermos. I need some sassy.
Well, that nigga sounded like a real pervert that day when he said that. You know, they say the men go around there and try to tempt the little kids with some candy. That's how he sounded. He didn't realize it though. It was hilarious though. It still is to this day. Yeah, when he first had made him a batch of that,
and he brought it for everybody.
and he brought it how he said it. That nigga sounded like one.
I got that sassy.
That nigga sounded like one of them pedophiles. I got some candy. Come on over here to the van.
That just open you up though.
It will. It definitely will.
That's just straight.
He ain't lying though. It's gonna do that.
47.
Genesis 47:1.
It say, then Joseph came and told Pharaoh and said, my father and my brother and their flocks and their herds and all that they have and come out of the land of Canaan, and behold, they
came out of the land of who?
The land of Canaan.
And they went where?
The land of Goshen.
Go ahead.
And he took some of his brethren and 5 men and presented them unto Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said unto his brethren, what is your occupation? And they said unto Pharaoh, thy servants are shepherds, both we and also our
Thy servants are who?
Our shepherds.
So they ra'ahs, right? They called you to behold the experience of strength. That's what they do. Go ahead.
It say, they said moreover unto Pharaoh, for to sojourn in the land we are come, for thy servants have no pasture for their flocks.
They have no what?
Pasture for their flocks.
What is pasture, everybody? Y'all know what pasture is? Little land. Little grazing place. Little place where you feed at, right? That's why he said they forgot their resting place, because they forgot where they fed at. The word for pasture is mareh. You spell it M-I-R-E-H. The characters you get are the ma'im, the rosh, the ayin, and the hay. So if we got ma'im, what you got?
You need the water.
Got a little water. It might be a little mighty too. But we want water for this one. We want water for this one. You know what it is where you got the rosh. So again, I would sit back and say that you want maybe the chief of the water of the highest on this one. And then the ayin and the hay, you know, you want to behold the experience of the water of the highest. Because if you got a little pasture for your flocks, ain't you going to leave a little bit of water? Don't that take you back to when you see who else watered flocks besides Jacob?
It could be that sea too. You get that pasture, you'll be able to see.
There it is, but on this one here, the context of where we headed at with it though, just the context where we headed at with it. Yeah, shepherd, you know you want a little bit of you want a little bit of water. You want to be able to experience a little bit of water on them. Behold, the water. What do y'all think about because didn't Moses water the flocks for the Midianites? Wasn't it a well right there for when them flocks was at for him to do it? Jacob did the same thing too, didn't he? When you think about a pasture or a resting place for sheep or cattle, don't you need to have some water right there so you can give it to them cattle? Because if you don't have it for them, guess what's going to happen to the cattle?
That's what's going to drown that water.
Absolutely. But guess what's going to happen to the cattle if it ain't no water there for them?
They're going to go astray.
They're going to go astray. And guess what happened when they go astray? They die. But so let's go to Psalms 119 and 176 and see why. We're trying to tie it all in and get it on out of here. Because I got one key point that I want to end with. Hello, Abigail. I cannot pick you up at this time.
Bye.
But I thank you for you coming around here to see me. Run, Gail, and be free.
119.
It's 176. Make it 172 though. Now the key reason why we read that there is he said, your servants don't have no pasture. Do you see how in Jeremiah 50 he said how the shepherds caused them to forget their resting place? He said, my sheep have been that the shepherds have caused them to go astray and they forgot their resting place. That means these sheep don't have no pasture. That means these sheep cannot behold the water of the highest or the head. They can't experience it. What is this water you seeking to experience? Nobody knows. Let's see.
Nobody knows. 119 and 172. My tongue shall speak of thy word.
Thy tongue shall what?
Speak of thy word. For all thy commandments are righteousness.
All thy commandments are what?
Righteousness. Let thy hand help me, for I have chosen thy precepts. I have longed for thy salvation. O
You heard what he said? Let thy hand help me. I have chosen thy precepts.
No, the hand, dude.
Yeah, but it could have been the call. So you have to look. So the yard, right? Yahusha right there to help you. There go your support. There go your comfort when he was angry with you. While you were yet sinners, Hamashiach died for the ungodly. Go ahead. Gail. This is not hide and seek time, Gail.
It says, for I have chosen thy precepts.
So if you're going to choose his precepts, then he going to help you. If you don't choose his precepts, then he's not going to help you. Go ahead.
It said, I have longed for thy salvation, O Yahuwah, and thy law is my delight. Let my soul live, and it shall praise thee, and let thy judgments help me. I have gone astray like a lost sheep.
You've gone what?
Astray like a lost sheep.
You have done what?
Gone astray like a lost sheep.
I have gone astray. Again, there goes the word ta'ah, right? So now you cannot experience or behold the experience of the covenant because you've departed.
But it says, seek thy servant.
Seek thy what?
Thy servant.
So we got the word bakash again. So make the sacrifice so I can get in the house. Huh?
Servant.
Amen.
For I do not forget thy commandments.
So when we look at the word for lost, which is what we came here for specifically, it's avad. You know what that word means, everybody? It means to be destroyed. It means to die. It means to go astray. It means to perish. It means to be exterminated. So when you're a lost sheep, guess what that means? You dead. You dead. So why do you think Yahusha would make the statement that I came to do what? Seek the lost sheep of the house of Yasharal because you dead. Because in the prophet Hosea said, you have destroyed yourself, but in me is your help. So you done killed yourself because you want to not want to behold that experience, and then these shepherds are causing you to go astray. Now the word, and I thought I had it in here, and I do not. We did have it though. Oh, there it is. We got the aleph, the bat, and the daleth. So what is that telling us?
The aleph, the bat, and the daleth.
The aleph, the bat, and the daleth. So on this one here, if we gonna sit back, if you don't win astray, we could look at about the.
And what word that was?
This is avad. This is for lost.
Okay.
So you got to be taught first. And this one here, you're going to have to be taught. And then when we look at bat, to be in or with, so you need to be taught within to get in the door. There has to be an inward education. I mean, we could use a couple of them. You could sit back and look at it and see. You could sit back and look at that the power of the Father taught you within to get in the door. Because this is what you're going to have to do not to be lost. Because remember, you are lost sheep, so you saw on, so your desire is to the strength of life. But the word for sheep is not, well, my bad. The word for sheep here is not saon, it's seh. S-E-H. You just got a shan in the hay. So what is that telling you? So you got two front teeth, sharp, to devour, to consume, to destroy, to press, eat, to, appear, or cutting. So in this instance, with the shan, I think we would want to use cutting. To behold the cutting. So what cutting would you behold? Because we got to look at the key point of the context of the verse that we're reading. The context of the verse that we're reading says, I was like a lost sheep, seek thy servant, that I do not forget thy commandments. So if you're looking at that, the power taught to teach you within to get in the door, because you had to behold a cutting, so the head would make a sacrifice for you to get in the house. It's telling you about what 1 Peter chapter 2 told you about. Let's read it again. 1 Peter 2 and 24.
Now the bod, that's the root for the bottom of the pit. Abaddon in Revelation.
I wouldn't know because that's a Greek word, ain't it?
No, it's Hebrew. That's why I say the Hebrew. It's in the Hebrew. So that's the word.
I would believe it.
Well, that's when I heard that. That's what I thought about. You astray. That's where you at.
It also is also of divine judgment.
Yeah.
Destroy utterly, broken, undone, to blot out, to do away with. So you don't want to be lost. But you notice the key point of the context of the verse. Yes. I can't hear you over the baby. What she said? What we going to?
Oh, Peter.
Oh, 1 Peter 2:24. I have to send them to you. He ain't on Facebook at all. Yeah. Yeah, we'll send them to you. 1 Peter 2:24.
It say who his own self bear our sins in his own body.
So you see how to behold the cutting?
It says that we being dead to sin should live unto righteousness, by whose stripes we were healed.
So now you've been taught by the power to teach you the within to get in the house.
For ye were as sheep going astray, but are now returned unto the shepherd. And
because that's what Psalms 119 and 176 is talking about. He say you sheep going astray. Psalms 119 say I'm a lost sheep that's went astray. That terminology is not used anywhere in the text other than this particular verse about an individual saying that they are a lost sheep. So if you lost, you have to behold the cutting or the impaling of a particular man. Because it said, I am as a lost sheep, seek thy servant, that I may keep your commandments. Ain't what it said. Now let's go to Luke chapter 15, right? And pick it up at verse 1.
I was going to say, that's a man. Man.
But tell them that so they can hear.
I was gonna say what's that word?
Avad.
No, on the
sheep.
The whole consume. I mean,
that's say. S-E-H. That's the word for sheep in Psalms 119 and 76.
Yeah.
Say. S-E-H.
Yeah. So that for that word in the pictograph, that's pretty much a man and teeth, or a person and teeth are being consumed. So if you don't have the shepherd, if you just a sheep without a shepherd,
you're going to be consumed.
Yeah, that's all it means. So a sheep without a shepherd is meant
to be consumed.
Yeah.
Which is why you see that how that go with what Peter said, and it also go by with the situation. He said that the situation is here: the sheep being consumed. David delivered sheep out of what? The mouth of a bear and the mouth of what else? A lion. And what are the two? There's 4 animals that are described in the book of Daniel and the book of Revelation. And what are those 2 animals?
Bear, lion.
A bear and a lion. And what was that bear and the lion coming to do in the book of Revelation? To destroy and to consume the people. But remember, and what was David's occupation? He was a shepherd. And what did that shepherd come and do? He not only that, he said, I delivered my sheep out of the paw and mouth of a bear and a lion, and this uncircumcised Philistine will be just like them. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? And guess what Yahushua coming by to do? To deliver you out the mouth of a bear and a lion. And it go back to what we're talking about. Because if you don't have a shepherd, then you will be consumed.
Without a shepherd, you fit for destruction.
You fit for destruction. Which is why, because the shepherd causes you to behold the experience of Elohim. Without one, this is why the writer this is why David specifically is saying, I'm a dead sheep. Seek me. He's asking to be sought. That if once I'm bound, then I won't forget to do what you told me to do. So when you look at Bakash, and it's the sacrifice of the head to get in the house, this is how he seeks you. That's how the shepherd sought you. So how else can the shepherd seek anybody else? Naturally, regular people, if they haven't done the same, then they can't be nobody's shepherd. Because all you're going to be doing is getting it. Then that's what we read in Jeremiah 50 and 6. You're consuming the sheep. You're consuming them. Like we read in Ezekiel 34. They done ate up my sheep. They done ate up my flock. They done devoured them. They didn't seek them out. They didn't sacrifice themselves so they could come recover them from being lost. So that they could be taught within how to get in my house. And that's why, again, that's what I'm telling y'all this here. And some of them know that because I just happen to see them and talk to them a little bit more than others. So you can understand the context of what we're doing. I don't think I probably explained it well enough before today. You take the word, you look at the verse. You pull the word you're looking at out of the verse. You look at the definition of the word that you take from out of the verse. Then when you go in the pictograph and spell it out, you're trying to get the message from the word that you're spelling out off the context of the definition and the context of the verse of which you pull that word out of. You know what I'm saying? Because you see the context from the verse that we pulled lost in sheep from, it coincided with what Peter said. You know what I'm talking about? And it coincides with what Jeremiah said. And then it coincided with what we read in Isaiah 3. And then we didn't even read in Isaiah 9 where he sat back and said that the honorable is the head and the ancient is the tail, and the people that lead thee cause you to be destroyed. You know what I'm talking about? And it all paints this same picture that those two words are telling in multiple different places, so that you can be able to see exactly what Yahuwah is imparting. And because these men have destroyed you, you can't find your resting place. You can't find pasture, like we read in Genesis 47. Golly, lady, I told you, give me a moment. Hey. Does that make sense? So you see how that works? Because they all, the characters from the word should relate back to the definition of the word, and should relate, because, example, the word for sheep is not the same word used anywhere else for sheep. It's a totally different word, because it doesn't fit the context of what's being spoken of in that particular verse. Because the desire to the strength of life wouldn't fit in that particular passage. Because this person is saying, I am been destroyed because I'm lost. I've been vanquished. Seek me. So let's read Luke 15. And then after that, I want to say Matthew 18.
No, I said no.
Not even, matter of fact, not Luke 15. My apologies. Go straight to Matthew chapter 18 and pick me up at about verse 8, I would say. So now you can see why he say now you can see why he say I'm not sent but to the lost sheep of the house of Yasharal. You see how why he would make that statement now? Makes a lot more sense why he make that statement. Because that lost sheep statement is not used in a lot of places in the book. And a lot of times when it's used because the people were being destroyed. Or they didn't have pasture, or the idle shepherd, or the pastors, or this, that, and the third. Because Jeremiah talk about the pastors a lot, leading the people astray. And there's other places for it, and we'll revisit it at another time. But go ahead, sir.
Matthew 18, verse 8. It says, wherefore, if thy hand or thy foot offend thee, cut them off and cast them from thee. It is better for thee to enter into life halt or maimed, rather than to having 2 hands or 2 feet to be cast into everlasting fire. And if thine eye offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee. It is better for thee to enter into life with 1 eye, rather than having 2 eyes to be cast into shield.
It's so better to get yourself under control and come in maimed than to go to hell with it all. Because remember what he told you in Proverbs, if you be a man of appetite, you need to put a knife to your throat. Do you know what I'm saying? You got some desires that ain't contrary to the word, need to cut them off. Need to cut them off. It don't make no sense. And see, and again, this go back to the key point of everybody, like, okay, I ran across that little man. I shared it just because of the context of what we've been talking about. A woman to say, I want a God-fearing man, and then choose opposite. Because if you choose a man who's inspired by his flesh, his treatment and his service to you is going to be dictated by the circumstances of his flesh at that time. A man of Elohim never changes. He never switches up. His dealings with you is going to be consistent every single solitary day, and his direction is going to be dictated by the word of Elohim and not how his flesh is feeling at that particular moment. That's why we were talking about that the other day. We'd have been funny with it, but serious at the same time. That's like, how could you sit and talk to a woman about the word and then transition to a sexual conversation? How does that happen? Because remember, right, what he told in the law, that you can't mix wool and linen, so you can't mix flesh and spirit. So how does that type of conversation come about? How does that even come about? Let me tell you about the Lord. Look like your bosom showing. Let me help you with that. Because we done seen, y'all done seen the pictures of the African pastors with their hands in ladies' drawers, talking about they were healing them. Hands in these ladies' bras. What type of healing you giving? Clearly. Clearly. I'll let you have that. I set that up because that was easy.
That was a finger roll.
Yeah, easy finger roll. But seriously though, and all jokes aside, had these men around here talking, I think he said he had some of these women, one pastor had these women doing something with his semen.
He said he
Yeah, he said he had some type of Jesus juice.
They swallowed it.
They swallowed it too. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Where y'all be finding this stuff?
This stuff
on Facebook. It'd be a bunch of.
It'd be a lot of.
Telling them to eat grass.
Yeah, you have one pastor. Most of this stuff being Africa.
Yeah.
Most of it being Africa. You had the pastor had them people eating grass. You had another pastor had a whole bunch of women on the beat butt naked while he was kissing their butt.
Yeah. Yeah, that's real. They have extreme Christian pastors in Nigeria. Like it be mostly in Nigeria. They be having them doing all kinds of stuff.
Now what they do in America, I couldn't tell you. I ain't never seen it. Boy, ain't nowhere as a woman, I don't even know how you could agree on getting all four butt naked on the beach and let a man randomly go down to everybody and kiss you on your gluteus maximus. Like how did you?
What game he said they was gonna get from that? The beach one?
Oh, I don't even remember. Then you had the pastor that had these people drink bleach. Told them they would cleanse them from sin if they drunk bleach. I wish I was lying, but I'm not. In America, they don't really have you do crazy stuff like that all the time. Most of the time, they just have you give up your money. You know what I'm saying? Or this pastor make you feel like the only way you're going to be healed, Sister Johnson, you know what you got to do. You know what you got to do. Come meet me in the office after 12.
Step into my prayer closet.
Step into my prayer closet. Jim Jones was a little different because I don't know if Jim Jones was preaching a word when he had all them people drinking that Kool-Aid.
I don't think he was preaching out the book.
I don't think Jim Jones was preaching no word.
He
had his own thing going on.
100% original, I think.
Like now with David Koresh in Waco, Texas, they lied on him and said that he said he was Jesus, but that man never said that. Do you know what I'm talking about?
He had to watch all this stuff in world religion.
Yeah, because David Koresh actually just separated himself from these people and they didn't like it. You know what I'm saying? The government don't like when you say I don't need you and I don't want nothing to do with you. They don't like it. They really don't. Come on, man. But we out of 2 hours.
Come on.
Keep on rolling, man.
We had 9. And if thine eye offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee. It is better for thee to enter to life with one eye, rather having 2 eyes to be cast into hell. Take heed that you despise not one of these little ones, for I say unto you that in Shamahim the Malakim do always behold the face of my Father which is in Shamahim. For the Son of Man is come to save that which was lost.
He came to save what?
That which was lost.
He came to say what?
That which was lost.
And lost is what? The avad. The teaching within to get you in the house. Because you know why you need the teaching within to get you in the house? Because you don't have it. That's why you lost. Because you don't know how to go home. You don't know how to get in the house. You ever been lost going home before? Desperate feeling, ain't it? I can't find my way home. And you know why that's important? Because I'm going to ask y'all a question, right? If you have the teaching to get in the house, that means you would know Elohim, right? So, and you don't have to answer this question out loud. Most of y'all in here got children, right? As a man, would you want your daughter to marry you, the man you are at this moment? I'm talking about everything, not the stuff you let people see. Every part of you. Would you encourage your daughter to marry a man just like you? You know what I'm talking about? As a woman, would you want your daughter to grow up and be just like you? Would you want your daughter to grow up and marry a man just like your husband? Or the father of your child if you're not married? You know what I'm talking about? Would you want your son to marry a woman like you? You know what I'm talking about? See, when you ask yourself those type of questions, then you might be able to examine yourself better to see what I need to do to make sure that my son or daughter is better than I am. Because if you got a pause, then you know you wouldn't want your daughter to marry a man like you. If you got a pause, that means you know you wouldn't want your son to marry a woman like you. You know what I'm saying? Because this is the reason why Yahushua came to teach you. He came to teach you to be able to sit back and say that you could be joined to him and be one with him. Because if you don't know how to get in the house, because when you're talking about getting married, you're talking about two people becoming one and entering into the house. Would you want your children to enter in with you? If a man grew up, your daughter grew up, would you be like, because you know, I already know this with a little girl, her first imprint of what type of man she going to be choose is based off her daddy. That's what's really going to set the standard of what type of man she chooses, how her daddy treated her mama. And what he did in the household. That's what she going to look at it as. Every bit of standard out there. My daddy did. You done heard women who say that. My daddy did this and my daddy did that. And I'm not going to talk to no man that do any less than this. Why you think niggas choose women who got daddy issues? Because that's an easy mark. She got issues. I can play whatever role I want to play and get right in that butt. Because usually if a woman has a strong example of a man, she harder to run that game on because she had a good example to know what to choose. You know what I'm saying? Then conversely, if you're a woman, would you want your son to marry a woman like you? Because a lot of little boys sit back and look at what type of woman their mama was, and that's what type of decision they gonna make on what they find desirable in a woman. I've seen niggas do opposite. I've seen niggas whose mama were caring, loving, cleaned the house, cooked and all that, and picked scallywags. But I never understood that. Hello, Abigail. Yeah, foot draggers, sluts, if you will. The barnacles at the bottom of the ocean. I'm just letting you know. The lowest of the low. Scum. Scum. That boy got some lungs on him. What do you hear me? That nigga might sing soprano. So you see how he say he came to save those which are lost. So when we sit back looking at this in John chapter 10 verse 1, we trying to get back to that pasture, to that resting place. And like I told you, that pasture is the Merah, that's the Meme, the Rosh, the Ayin, and the Hay. And that's the behold, the place where water is. And did he tell you to draw waters out the well of salvation? Did it say that Joseph was a fruitful bow whose branches shot out by a well? That well is where the people are resting at. Because like you said, you need a little water for the sheep, but guess what the sheep gonna do? Go astray. And guess what them shepherds who was not sent didn't have? They ain't had no water, so guess what the sheep went and did? Slid on off. Sometimes you got some rebellious sheep and they be like this here. Ain't no grass around here good enough. I think the grass better over here. I'm going over here. And the big bad wolf get him.
But that's what I was going to say too about. But that staff being...
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. Give me Psalm 23.
Yeah.
Because it actually talked about the waters. I'm glad you said that. Because that's what he said he'd lead you by. You know what it is. Your grandma got it open in your house right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That is so true.
Page yellow and all.
Had that rod and staff on you.
Rod and the staff. You know what that rod for? Bah! Bust him upside the head. Ain't that what Paul said? Should I come in the ruach of meekness or with a rod? But guess what you do with these wicked niggas when you bring a rod? He ain't got no love. Where's the love? Guess what? Yahushua say he coming with that rod though. He say whoever he rebuke and chasten, he love. Niggas don't like that rod though. Niggas don't like that rod because niggas don't like to be corrected. What Yahushua told you? He said they don't come to the light lest their deeds should be shown that they evil. So they don't want that rod. The rod is to correct you. The staff is to direct you. So once I bust you upside the head with this rod to get your mind right, then I'm going to have this staff lead you in the way that you ought to go. And guess what? That's a whole nother avenue which we can't touch right now of the shepherd causing you to behold the experience of Elohim. Because Yahushua came through and bust you upside the head with that rod and then directed you with the staff in the same breath. It's leading you astray. They ain't busting you upside the head with that rod. That's taking you back to the Lamentations 2. That's taking you back to the Jeremiah 50. That's taking you to the Jeremiah 23. It's taking you to the Ezekiel 34. They're not busting you upside the head with that rod. I would have did that too.
Yahuwah is my shepherd, I shall not walk. He making me lie down in green pastures.
He make you lie down in green pastures, and pastures is the what? The place. Behold the place of water. Behold the place of water. You get to experience the water. Go ahead. He make you read it again from the top.
It say, Yahuwah is my shepherd, I shall not want.
I shall not want.
He making me lie down in green pastures.
Green pastures.
He leading me beside the still
and ain't that ironic that pastures is pointing to the still waters that's right there next to it in the sentence? Go ahead.
It said he restores my soul.
He did what?
Restores.
Why would your soul need to be restored? You need to be born again. Absolutely.
He said he leaded me.
Hold on, and why did you need to be born again? Because you was a lost sheep. You had been consumed and destroyed. So you needed to be taught within. Come on.
And he leads me in the paths of righteousness.
Now he leads you in the way to the highest that covers sins.
For his name's sake.
For his who?
His name.
He said, I came in my Abba's name and you received me not. Him you will receive. That's why he said, my sheep know my voice and they what? Follow me.
It says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me. Thy rod and my staff shall comfort me.
Thy rod and thy what?
Staff shall comfort me.
So guess what? The correction and the direction gets the ruach. Because see how that takes us back to Isaiah 12, which takes us back to Noah, which takes us back to the ruach. Because don't you believe that the staff and the rod or the correction or the direction of Yahuwah will get you the ruach? Continue on, sir. Because everybody like to read Psalm 23. It just make me feel you ain't understand what you read. See, he finna talk about something we got to read no more. Now he talking about Judas. See, yeah, now you finna talk about Judas. When we talk about my enemies surround my table and all that type of stuff and get my head with ointment, that's when Mashiach finna get ready to die, which shows you how. Because how he was comforted in the rod and the staff of Elohim comforted him, and how Yahuwah was his shepherd and led him beside still water so he could get the ruach. That's another conversation for another day.
But surely goodness and mercy shall follow.
What? And guess what? And he dwelt in the house. Guess where Yahushua at right now? In the house of goodness and mercy did follow him, because the law came by Moses, but favor and truth came by Yahushua HaMashiach. Goodness and mercy followed him, because he told you, hearken unto me, and I'll give you a commander in the sure mercies of David, because he rose him from the dead. But like I said, we'll continue on, because we don't have enough time to deal with that this afternoon, because that's something to stand alone, all by himself. So now when we look at that leading you beside still waters, we might as well just go ahead and do this here first. 1 Chronicles chapter 4 and verse 33. 1 Chronicles chapter 4 and verse 33. I'll take that direction before I slide and end it. So we got plenty of time. Not verse 33. Picking up at verse, 33 is cool. Yeah, 33 is cool. Matter of fact, you can pick it at 32. We got plenty, ain't but 506. We got plenty of time. To finish the last part, we got plenty of time. Plenty of time. 1 Chronicles chapter 4 and verse 32. Cheering getting on the nerves. Why y'all aggravating her like that? 1 Chronicles chapter 4 and verse 32 says this.
And their villages were Etam, First Chronicles? Etam, Ain, Ramon, and Tochin, Ashan, 5 cities. And
matter of fact, hold on, I want to show you something. Hold on. Back it up to about verse 21. I want y'all to know that this is the genealogy of the tribes, and this is Simeon. Does anybody know who Simeon is? What is Simeon known for? You supposed to give him a chance.
Oh, I ain't say it though.
Shoot, she hurts.
They still don't know what happened.
Who know what Simeon known for?
See, they still don't know what happened.
Anybody in here know what Simeon known for? Anybody know who Dinah is? Show of hands, who know who Dinah is?
I've been to Metro Dinah.
This nigga right here say he done been to Metro Dinah. So Deidre and Stanley know who Dinah is. Nobody else in here know who Dinah is? You know who Dinah is, Darius? Who is Dinah, Darius? She didn't get raped. That was Willing Bud. That was Willing Bud. He ain't take nothing. Now he ain't come through force and say, give it to me. No, he ain't do all that. He just went and laid with her.
She wasn't married. He ain't go through the proper.
He ain't go through the proper protocol to get that butt. And unfortunately, in those days and times, most women didn't resist that. They just went ahead and laid with him.
You gotta tell me twice.
You know what I'm talking about? Unless they was actually getting raped, then they would yell and holler like, get this nigga up off of me. So what happened with Dinah? Anybody know what happened with Dinah? Well, for quick synopsis, for those who don't know, you might want to go read Genesis 34. You also might want to go read the beginning of Genesis 49, where he tells you about what these two gentlemen who we're about to refer to did. It's the man wanted to marry Dinah real bad. He said he really loved her. He just ain't want no butt. He really wanted to marry her and make her his wife. Jacob's brothers was like this here. Well, first they went and got They went. He told them, you got to be circumcised like we circumcised. He said, we can't give our children to no uncircumcised niggas now. That's another instance for how you know you ain't got no business dealing with no sinner. And they had to mess with this nigga with this old turtle head over here. Still don't even fool with him. You know what I'm talking about? Don't even fool with him. So they go ahead and they get circumcised. And then who killed them though? Levi and who else? And Simeon. After Jacob told, like he said, after Jacob told them not to. Because Jacob was worried about that it would cause a war to break out and that they would be consumed. Because put it this way, Jacob wasn't against them murking them. He just felt like we weren't properly prepared to do battle with these people, so leave them alone. Because I think if the army would have been a little bit stronger, I think Jacob, shoot, do what you do, son. Shoot, kill that nasty nigga. He hadn't been touching my daughter in the first place. But does anybody know what Simeon and Levi said after they told their daddy that they killed all these niggas? I just like what's said, so go get Genesis 34 so they can see.
Let's see.
Just let's go get it and see. I want y'all to hear what they said. I know what they said, but I don't want to tell you. I want you to hear it for yourself, read it for yourself. Hey, y'all ain't have a problem with it. I can tell you that. I want you to start at about verse 29. Genesis 34 and about verse 29. Listen what it say now.
It said they took all their sheep and their oxen and their asses, that which was in the city and that which was in the field, and all their wealth and all their little ones and their wives they took captive. Because
what? After they killed these niggas, they took all their stuff too.
They spoiled the city.
They spoiled the city.
It say, and they spoiled even all that was in the house.
Everything in the house.
And Jacob said to Simeon and Levi,
what he said to him?
You have troubled me to make me to stink among the inhabitants of the land.
Nah, stink.
Among the Canaanites, the Perizzites, and I being few in number, they shall gather themselves together against me and slay me.
That's all Jacob was worried about.
And I shall be destroyed, I and my house.
All he was worried about was protecting his household. But guess what? Guess how gangster they are.
And they said, should he deal with our sister as with a harlot?
That's what he said about it. So he gonna deal with my sister like she a hoe? Daddy, I feel where you come from. Them niggas had to die. Guess what they did? Killed all of them. Ain't nobody stood up and stood up on them niggas' behalf either. Ain't that what Simeon and Levi said? Should they deal with my sister like she a hoe? I think not. Now come on back to 1 Chronicles chapter 4. I just wanted y'all to see that for yourself. But see, I want you to read 1 Chronicles 4 and 22. Because it's just something that's mentioned in it. Then we'll go down. We need to read it.
That's 1 and 20.
No, make it 22.
Okay. It said, Joachim and the men of Kozabah and Joash and Sarah, who had dominion in Moab, and Yashrubelim, and these are ancient things.
This is what it said.
And these were the potters, and those that dwelt among plants and hedges. There they dwelt with the king for his work.
They dwelt with who for his work?
The king for his work.
If you dwelling beside the still waters, don't you think you dwelling with the king for his work? The reason why we mention that is what we finna get ready to read, and it's going to play in when we get to the end. Now you can drop down to verse 32.
It said, in the villages were Etam, Ain, Ramon, and Tochin, and Ashan, 5 cities, and all the villages that were round about the same cities unto Baal.
Go ahead.
These were the habitations and the genealogy.
Go and drop down to verse 37. They can 38. Y'all can read their names on another time.
It said these mentioned by their names were princes, and their families in the house of their fathers increased greatly.
Go ahead.
And they went into the entrance of the door, even unto the east side of the valley, to seek pasture for them.
So these men of Simeon are seeking pasture for those who have a desire for the strength of life. They're seeking for these people a place to have their sheep can behold the experience of life. Is that what they're doing? Let's see what happens now.
They found fat pasture.
I want y'all to know Gedor is adjacent to the city Hebron. Anybody know why Hebron is important?
That's why football is important.
That's where David dwelt. Y'all know what land Hebron is in? It's in Yehuda. It's in Judah. Look and see why this is important. Continue on, sir.
It says, and they found fat pasture.
They found fat pasture. That means this was a good place to go.
And good.
And good. Go ahead.
The land was wide and quiet.
It was, hold on, it was what?
Wide.
And what else?
Quiet.
And what else?
And peaceful.
Ain't that's what it said was going to happen when the Mashiach come back? Look at what it said about this land too.
And they of Ham had dwelt there of old.
Why is that important that it said they of Ham dwelt there of old? Why is that important?
It was showing that's the land that he had promised them.
They in the land, but they taking over. Because you should have peeped that, absolutely. Because then we just read with Jacob killing all them, he said who was going to come get him, the Canaanites. This is, you got to remember, this is Yasharal going to take a place which is in Hebron. But yet it says that it's still some strangers dwelling there and we got to get them out. But you see what you're going to peep is you're going to catch what strangers was dwelling there. Because it ain't no Canaanites dwelling here. Go ahead.
It says, and these were written by name, came in the days of Hezekiah, king of Judah, and smote their tents, and the habitations were found there, and destroyed them utterly unto this day, and dwelt in their rooms, because there was pasture.
So they kind of did the same thing they did when we first came in the land. It said they destroyed these people and got them over there and took it over. Go ahead.
It says, and some of them, even the sons of Simeon, 500 men, went to Mount Seir, having for their captains Pelatiah and Neriah and Rephathiah and Uzziel, sons of Aish, or Ishi. It says, and they smote the rest of the Amalekites that were there, that were escaped, and dwelt unto.
Why is that important that not only did they take over the land, but then they went and killed some Amalekites in Mount Seir?
They said the rest of them.
So there were obviously there were Amalekites that were left in the land. But why is this important? Doesn't Isaiah chapter 63 tell you about something of this nature? Let's look at it and see. 63 and 1. And then after we read Isaiah 63 and 1, Revelation 11 and 1. Because these men came out and removed these people because they were seeking pasture. They were seeking for you to behold the experience of the head of life, or water. And water has to be there for pasture for sheep. Sheep got to have water. Go ahead.
He said, the Ruach of Yahuwah Elohim is upon me, because Yahuwah have anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek.
That's 60, we in 63. Not 61.
You said 61. You said 63 and 1. Excuse me. It say, woe is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Bozrah.
From where?
Bozrah. This that is esteemed in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speaketh in righteousness, mighty to save.
Mighty to save.
Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel?
Why you red in your apparel?
And thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat. I have trodden the wine press alone, and of the people there was none with me. For I will tread them in my anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment.
Stain all my raiment. Now let's look at Revelation 11 and 1.
It said, and there was given me a Malachim, it was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the Malachim stood, saying, rise and measure the temple of Elohim, and the altar and them that worship therein. But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles. And the Kadash city shall...
It's given unto who?
The Gentiles. In the Kadash city shall they tread under foot 42 months. And I will give power unto my two witnesses, and they shall prophesy.
So now the question remains, right? Jerusalem is inhabited by people who don't supposed to be there, is it not? Now let me ask y'all a question. Will Edom be inhabited in the land at this time?
In the time what? When he come back?
When he come back.
He gotta be.
He got to be. And you know why he got to be? Because we didn't read that verse all the way to its completion in Psalms 137. But didn't he say, remember Edom, who stood there at Jerusalem and said, raise it, raise it? You don't think that nigga ain't going to be standing right there like he chilling? Because why else does it say that he got to come up to Mount Seir and take them niggas out? So now go get Revelation 19. I'm trying to think where I want to start. Pick me up about verse 15.
It says, and out of his mouth goeth the sharp sword, that with it he shall smite the nations, and he shall rule them with the rod of iron. And he that treadeth the winepress of the fierceness of the wrath of El Shaddai. It says, and he hath on his vesture and on the thigh a name written, Malachim of Malachim, and Master of Masters. And I saw Malachim standing in the sun, and he cried with.
Now that's good, right? So the reason why I read it, because you see that y'all, what land, according to Zechariah 14, what area is he coming to fight over? He coming to fight over Jerusalem. Remember what he told you in Joel chapter 3? Y'all done divvied up my land. You know what I'm talking about? So you got to remember, the men of Simeon are coming in to do what? To take back what was theirs. And there were strangers there because they were doing what? They were seeking pasture for their flocks. So they were seeking the place where they could behold the experience of life, or the experience of water, for those who had a desire for the strength of life. And they found this place to be suitable and acceptable in Chronicles. And not only did they take out the people who were dwelling there, would let you know, in the land of Ham and Og. So this is the land. But also that we got to take out Esau while we're here. Because after they took out the people of the land, they went looking for them Amalekites. Why is it important for them to go to look for them Amalekites? Because he said that I would blot their name out from under Shamaim. They went there looking for them. For those that who had escaped, it said. So clearly those that escaped had to be in the land for them to escape in the first place. So we got to get you up out of here. And you see how that parallel with a Mashiach? Because get one more spot. Revelation 14, man. I think it's probably about verse 14.
It says, and I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and upon the cloud one sat like the Son of Man, having his head a golden crown, and in his hand.
See how he got that crown on his head? Because he was made separate from his brethren, because he got the blessing above his progenitors, and the blessings that were under the deep, and the blessings from Shamaim, because his bow abode in strength. Go ahead.
And another Malachim came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the clouds, thrust in thy sickle and reap, for the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth.
When do you harvest according to our law? Tabernacles, or first fruits, or the day after Passover. But in this instance, if he coming back, he's coming to reap his harvest at the end, just like he told you in Matthew 13. The Malachim are the reapers, and the end of the world is the harvest. Like, he give clues if you know the word to tell you, so you know exactly what's going on. People don't know exactly what's going on because they don't know Elohim. That's why they walk around here in a stupor. When you actually believe and walk in his righteousness, this word is very simple to understand. Because then when you know the word, then you know, okay, I know what to look for. I know what I'm talking about is for what's going to happen in the end. I know who's of Elohim and who's not. That's why so many people jump up and say, oh, the end of the world coming, the Lord's coming back. Oh, Trump, that's the end. That's not any of the stuff he told you to watch for nor look for. He told you what to look for. So you wouldn't be walking around. You think Yahweh is so evil that he wouldn't even have you to be able to properly prepare to know what to look for? When has he ever went in this book and not gave these people a good, perfect time frame and know exactly what to look for before he got ready to do something? He told them pretty plainly every time.
And what to do to prepare.
And what to do to prepare. What type of father wouldn't prepare his children for war? What type of general wouldn't prepare his soldiers for war? Oh, Abigail, let me help you out there. Look here, right? It don't go into great, I'm sorry to cut you off. It don't go into great details in Exodus, right? But he told Moses and Aaron, tell them everything that was going to go down before he did it. Go ahead, Stan.
I was just going to say that, how he sent that angel of death to everybody who got the blood of the lamb.
Yep. Yeah, he did. But see, but even before he got to that point, he went and got Aaron and Moses. He had them show signs to the people before he even started dropping plagues on Egypt.
It wasn't even about Yasharal. He was warning the Egyptians.
Straight up and down. He was telling them all what he was finna do.
He warned the whole world before the flood came.
Told them what to look for. Told them what was gonna happen.
That's so how he full of mercy.
He just don't do that. He just said, I'm gonna kill them all and they ain't gonna be ready. Oh no, he finna tell you. So when he do send you to hell, you ain't got nothing you can say. I gave you fair warning. I told you what to look for. You know what I'm saying? So not only when it comes to the end, but when it's coming to the people that you deal with. You can't, if you're a virtuous woman, you should be able to identify a righteous man immediately, and vice versa. And vice versa. You know what I'm talking about? I wouldn't care. You'll be able to judge righteous companions. You'll be able to tell. Oh yeah, I know. Shoot, that's one of my people. I'm finna go holler at him. Nah, he know he Israel. He in the truth. That's retarded. He said he make two seeds and one to be stronger than the other. I don't know. What can you do? It's not hard to tell, man. It really comes down to tell is what your desire is. Because if you desire righteous friends, that's what you're going to have. If you desire a righteous spouse, that's what you're going to have. Because that's what you're going to gravitate towards. Anything else that's not what your desire is. He told you, if you do well, will you not be accepted? If not, sin lie at the door. And your desire is going to be to that. So your desire is based off what's in your heart. If your desire is for Elohim, you will gravitate to any and everything and everyone who is of that. Without question. Without question. Go ahead, where we at, man? Oh, Abigail.
You said you wanted this 14.
Yeah, keep on going.
It says, and he that sat on the cloud thrust his sickle in the earth, and the earth was reaped. And another Malachim came out of the temple, which is in Shamahim, and he also having a sharp sickle. And another Malachim came out from the altar, which had power over fire and crowd.
And that's good, because y'all know what ends up happening after that. He killed everybody, right? So where is he killing everybody at? Because what did he tell you that he would do with the world? He would gather them where? And where is the valley of Jehoshaphat? In the land. In the land of what part of the land specifically?
It's in Jerusalem.
It's in Yehuda. It's in Judah. And what did we see them sons of Simeon come through and do? Anybody know what Simeon name means? It's another meaning to it too, though. Like that's in the text. Let me pull that for you. It's slipping my man. I want to say it's hated.
So that coincide with when Ezekiel said, probably like in Ezekiel, when he heard.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm talking about in the text, it's a different meaning. Like when you read in the text, it's a different meaning. Right there. Hated. Like when you look in the context of the text. And she conceived again and bare a son and said, because Yahuwah have heard that I was hated, he have therefore given me this son also. And she called his name Simeon. So I know the actual definition, but then I'm talking about.
I thought because it said he heard it.
You know what I'm saying? But then I'm talking about the context of the verse when she named him. So then Simeon is the one who is hated. You don't think them people, the reason why I mentioned that and go in that direction is because the people in the land hate Hamashiach upon his return because it said the nations were angry. Just like them people that was in the land when the sons of Simeon came through and took it over. They were probably upset. But see, they were seeking pasture. John chapter 10 verse 1, because we got to slide. And not because we're out of time, because this video is long. John 10 and 1.
Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door to the sheepfold, but climbeth in some other way, the same is a thief and a robber.
Thief and a robber.
But he that entereth in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep.
Shepherd of the sheep.
To him the porter openeth, and the sheep hear his voice.
They hear his voice.
And he calleth his own sheep by name.
By what?
Them out by name.
He lead them out.
And when he putteth forth his own sheep, he goeth before them.
Remember, go before them is to pioneer, so he give them the words of eternal life. Go ahead.
And the sheep follow him, for they know his voice.
They know his voice.
And the stranger will they not follow, but will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers. This parable Yahushua spoke unto them, but they understood not what things which he had spake unto them. Then said Yahushua unto them, verily, verily, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep. All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers.
Thieves and robbers.
But the sheep did not hear them.
They didn't hear him.
I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture.
He'll find what? So he'll find the place where the water's at. He'll be able to behold it. Go ahead.
But it says, the thief cometh not but to steal, kill, and to destroy. I have come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly.
So he came, and the water is symbolic of right, because remember he started to draw the water out of the wells of salvation. So let's read Revelation chapter 7 and verse 9 or 10 or 11, whichever one it is. Tell me what 11 say. And then after that, Revelation chapter 22. 7 and 11.
It says, and all the Malachim stood round about the throne, and round about the elders, and the four. Round about the throne, and about the elders, and the four beasts, and fell before the throne on their faces and worship Elohim, saying, Amen, Baruch, and esteem and wisdom and thanksgiving and honor and power and might be unto our Elohim forever and ever. Amen. And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, What are these which are arrayed in white robes, and whence come they? And I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. And he said unto me, These are they which came out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes, and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Therefore are they before the throne of Elohim, and serve him day and night in his temple. And he that sitteth on the throne shall dwell among them. They shall hunger no more, neither.
Remember how it said in that First Chronicles where we went up at, where he said they dwell with the king for the king's work? Ain't that what those people are doing? You got to sit back and look at it. You want to dwell with the king to do the king's work. That's why he say if you purge yourself from these, you can be a vessel meet for the master's use. So if you want to dwell with the king, then you got to make sure that you do things that you can be used for his work. If you're not purging yourself in anything that you can be used for his work, you are worthless. Go ahead. She got a full squad over there.
And I said unto him, Sir, knowest. And thou said unto me, These are they which came out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes, and have made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Therefore are they before the throne of Elohim, and serve him day and night in his temple. And he that
and you see how that go back into about him teaching you within to enter into the house? All that stuff all this stuff went right in together smoothly. Go ahead.
And he that sitteth on the throne shall dwell among them. They shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat. For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them, and shall lead them unto.
Don't shepherds feed they flock like we talked about last night? Shepherds feed they flock and lead them by what?
And lead them unto living fountains of water.
Just like it said, Yahuwah is my shepherd, and he lead me beside the still waters. But you know what the purpose of we looking at that for is? What was in the Garden of Eden? Not just that. If we talking about the context of what we looking at. What was it? It had rivers. How many of them? It was 4 rivers. Doesn't the book of Isaiah tell you that he would make Jerusalem like the Garden of Eden? So that means that this is what, and when you look in and guess, and where was the place that they were taking them to take over was Yehuda? If there was a good, fat, wide pasture for their flocks, that means there had to be good rivers of water right there for their flocks to be able to feed. That's why they chose it to take it. Because it said that these men were purposely looking for pasture. Yahushua was looking for a pasture to place his flock. That pasture is Jerusalem. Revelation 22 and 14, and that's it.
Go sit down.
Sire, go sit down.
It says, Baruch are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and enter in through the gates of the city. For without are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters and whosoever loveth to make a lie. Loveth and maketh a lie. I, Yahushua, have sent my messenger to testify unto you these things in the assemblies. I am the root and offspring of David and the bright and morning star. And the Ruach and the bride say, Come, and let him that heareth say, Come, and let him that is athirst come, and whosoever will, let him take water of life freely.
And that's the only place and this is why he said he calls his sheep to lie down and find pasture, because you can feed on his word and you can drink the water of eternal life. This is why they're one of the reasons. And we'll come back to him when we look at Psalm 23, what he mean when he say he leads you beside still waters, because it said that pasture that they found in Chronicles was a what? A wide, quiet, and peaceable place. Take you back to Ezekiel 37 where he say you rest in your tents and be quiet and none make you afraid, because you got 1,000 years of shalom, because you dwelling with the living Elohim. But hallelujah for Yahushua in the word. We got to start. We got to put this room together. Pick up this.